Have some fun tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the copy? Right foot down. We had to go, Brad. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. It's your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Doing great. Ridiculous, man. Holy. You see that? Holy cow. Good job, man. 2 times, baby. Yeah. Holy crap.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Darren Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter, back for another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Yes, even though it's the off week for NASCAR, it's not for us, of course. We are still hard working, but this doesn't even feel like work, man. This feels like family at this point. It feels like a family gathering.
Family is
every
work,
Wednesday.
Darian.
Family. Exactly. Family. Exactly. But yeah, we had a very interesting race, which we'll get into. But first, we got to introduce the panel, Eric Eastep, and of course, the Iceberg. Dannybtalks is out again. He will be back with us soon or whatever, but he's going to be out tonight. But hey, it's all good. We'll hold it down for him while he's gone. But let's get into it, man. The hot takes. So let's look at the order. Eric, you're first for this week's hot take. Let's start us off, man. What you got?
So I've noticed on social media the past couple weeks, like week or so, and I've also noticed this listening to other podcasts, I'm not going to name specifically, that people are freaking out about Ross Chastain ever since that crash at Darlington, and he got the talk from not that talk, but a different talk from Justin Marks and Chevrolet. He hasn't quite been the same. And you look at the numbers and you're exactly right. Ever since Darlington, he's finished 11th, 22nd, and 10th. Not the Ross Chastain we'd come to know. He was leading the points before that Darlington incident. Now I think he's 4th, 5th, something like that. But I want to point out that it's not Ross Chastain. I don't think he's driving necessarily any differently, or if he is, I don't think it's hurting his performance. I think it's simply the car. I don't think there's anything wrong with Ross Chastain right now. You look at Daniel Suarez this most recent weekend at Sonoma. He won this race a year ago. This weekend, he couldn't get through the top 20. He finished 23rd. So, and you look at Daniel Suarez's numbers the past few weeks, he was 23rd at Charlotte as well. Like, it's not like he's being outrun by Suarez. If Chastain starts getting outrun by Daniel Suarez, then maybe there's a problem. But until that happens, I'm confident that it's not Ross Chastain. It's not like he's changed his driving style completely and now sucks. It's just the cars. Trackhouse is a little off. We've seen Toyota take a big step forward the past few weeks. McDowell was great this past weekend. Ford guys like Blaney won a race. We've seen RFK be better. Trackhouse is just a little off. Ross Chastain is not the problem right now.
Okay. All right, Jarrett, your turn.
Well, okay. If anyone followed me on social media this past week, they saw that I was back home in Rockford, Illinois, and I went to the Rockford Speedway. My hot take is this. NASCAR should have trailer races. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying this for full stupidity or any of this, but hear me out here. Short tracks around the country have had trailer races. Rockford was famous for them. And you know what? For the second time ever, we broke the damn concrete wall there. It was awesome. I didn't get the clips uploaded in time, but next week I'll show you that redneck fun. But the problem is short tracks around the country are closing down at a rapid rate. NASCAR wants to stay connected in some way with its roots. This isn't NASCAR roots per se, but more short track racing roots. Bring on some kind of bull ring or makeshift bull ring. Bring a bunch of trailers from all over the country. There was a dude in one of them that literally was trailing a damn hot tub full of water behind him. Bring all these rednecks from around the country, just like Rockford did, and have some fun with it. Charge like $20 a pop and have, not pop, but like ticket, and have people come in and just have some dumb fun and something that can just, everyone can agree it's fun. It's not NASCAR. Who the hell's going to debate trailer races? That's my hot take. Have some trailer races at NASCAR.
So my hot take has to do with the NBC portion of the NASCAR Cup Series broadcast. It has to do with the intro, actually. I firmly believe that the current intro we have, the current NBC intro, I don't know the name of the song, but you guys know what I'm talking about, is the best that NBC has had ever since their return in 2015. I know Blake Shelton's was pretty damn good, but it was a little too country for my liking. And then, the Running Down a Dream, it was good. It was like a little on the, I guess you could say, country rockish side a little bit more. But I don't know. I like the tone. I like the vibe of this singer. It's so chill to me. It's not too high, not too low. It's just right. It's just right.
Slow.
Yeah, slow, I guess. I guess. I don't know. That's just me though. That's just me. I know I'm probably in the minority with that, but yeah, I think the current intro is banging compared to
Is it the
the other
same
two.
one? Is there a different one this year? Or is it the same one from last year?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. So we might find out. It might be different. Might get a fourth one. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is my hot take, and we will put the poll up right there. So while you guys vote on that, we will get right into the weekend's festivities, the previous weekends, because we had Sonoma racing, and I called it Infineon in like my upload on Monday. I don't know. That's just the old fan of me, I guess. Still calling it Infineon. I know some fans who still call it Sears Point. So I remember when I pointed out Sears Point, I don't think Eric knew what I was talking about. Like, what do you mean Sears Point? What are you talking
Well, I
about?
know Sears Point, but
Oh,
I
okay,
also
okay.
call it Infineon because that's what it was, I think, in the NASCAR Thunder games.
Yeah, and Infineon, that's actually a company. It's actually some technology company
I didn't know
too.
that as a kid. I just thought that was what it was called. When they changed it to
Yeah.
Sonoma, I thought that was the company. I was like,
Exactly. But speaking of dominance at this track, Martin Truex Jr., man, wow, that guy. It feels like yesterday we were talking about, oh, should him and the crew chief split up? They seem to be arguing and stuff, but now all of a sudden they're back to being championship contenders again. It feels like. Eric, you started us off. Yeah, Martin Truex
oh,
Jr. basically nukes the field. He's looking pretty good, man. What do you think?
he's looking great. And I'll point out that some people were suggesting that he and James Small need to break up. I think I was one of those who predicted at the beginning of this year that he was due for a bounce back season. Now, did I expect him to have 2 wins and be leading the points at this point in the season? No, probably not, but not too far off. He's got 3 wins if you include his win at the Clash. No, this is a typical Martin Truex Jr. kind of win. It wasn't super flashy. He just had the best car and didn't really make any mistakes. Even when that untimely loose wheel caution cost him his track position, he was back in 9th. He was the best driver in the field at passing. He was the only guy who was able to really drive up to the lead. I know McDowell looked really, really good. I'm sure you were excited about that, Jarrett. He drove from like 11th to 4th-ish. A few other guys like Bell could make some passes. Allmendinger could make some passes. I'm probably forgetting 1 or 2 others, but no one could make passes like Martin Truex Jr. So didn't seem to matter. That strategy, untimely cautions, nothing really went against Truex, or even when it did, he overcame it. So what a turnaround though for Toyota. Last year in this race, They were terrible. Truex ran like 25th here last year, and everyone was wondering what is going on. But now with this win, he is tied for the 2nd most Sonoma wins all time, behind the one and only California legend, Jeff Gordon. So congrats to Martin Truex Jr. I mean, there's not a whole lot else to say about it other than he earned it. He was the best driver. Best driver got the best result.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think with Truex now, looking at the long term with it, I think he will probably stay around a bit longer. I see some people in the chat saying, "Hey, can we put the Truex retiring rumors to bed now?" And I've seen other people say that, and I think at this point we can. I think at this point too, he has a much different mindset. You can tell that he seems a lot more loose, at least when you see him in interviews, when you see him, talking to the media, whatever. Obviously a lot has changed personally for him too. A lot less probably that's on his mind. So I'm thinking at this point he probably has sort of, you see it in some drivers' careers, a kind of rebirth of their career where you think they're done for a while and then they pop back up. I mean, me as a junior fan, I can remember those last 5 years or so before the concussion where it was this massive turnaround where he was a completely different driver. Something changed. And plenty of drivers go through that. So I think at this point, a Truex with not a care in the world, basically, for no better way of putting it on my end, I think that's a dangerous Martin Truex Jr. And
It's extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and I think as long as him and James Smalls keep their cool and, unlike earlier this year, they have kept their cool pretty damn well the last 10 or so races. They keep it up like that into the playoffs. There's no reason they can't win a championship.
Yeah, it's a complete turnaround. It feels like I mean, like, I don't want to say complete turnaround actually, because I mean, yeah, they missed the playoffs last year, but they were still consistent. Like in the consistent points, they were top 5 still. So, it's just
the difference
just a case
is
of not getting a win, unfortunately.
Not to cut you off, Darian, but the difference is that last year they just didn't finish races, whether it was something breaking like at Darlington or if it was Truex making a mistake like on pit road at Homestead. Like they just found weird ways, especially in the second half of the year, to lose races last season. But this weekend, had the best car. Even when they faced minor adversity, they didn't beat themselves. They just went out and continued to dominate. They performed. So.
By the way, Jarrett, you won the poll. I'm shocked I finished last though. I'm shocked. I felt like there'd be more that would be against me, but no, never mind. So Jarrett,
try your races for the win.
Good job, great job. But yeah, no, Martin Truex Jr. gets the W, and yeah, and as somebody said earlier, now he's first in the consistent points now. So that's another major accomplishment. Yeah, we had to separate them now. Consistent points or whatever, consistent from playoffs. But looking at the rest of the field though, and I can just go over the top 10. I mean, Kyle Busch finishes P2.
He's finished second in both road courses this year.
Yeah, he's another guy. I mean, when you talk about road course just road course contenders and stuff. I mean, yeah, back-to-back second place runs now. And like he was coming off of a win at Gateway, so a lot of momentum swinging his way entering the off week. And then Logano in third, back-to-back top 5s. Him and that 22 team really needed that. And then my personal favorite in the top 5, Chris Buescher, man. Like
that's the other one. I was forgetting.
You want to talk about another road course contender? Like he's really been one in the last couple of years that's really emerged.
Really quick, when looking at Buescher, let me pull it up. I know the points are rolling on the bottom line here, but if I'm correct, yes, Buescher is now the top RFK driver. He has 102 points over the cut line and 13th. I'll put it like this: he's closer to Ross Chastain and Kevin Harvick than he is the cut line at this moment.
Yeah, that's saying. I mean, that just says a lot about him, and it says a lot about the work that team did in the offseason. I mean, like there was still some questions entering this year, but you figured that they would take a step in improvement, but I didn't expect this much of a step though. So, I mean, Keselowski's finally bringing, Rouse back to prominence finally. And rounding out the top 5 is Chase Elliott. This was a much needed top 5 considering, coming off of the suspension. And we've been starting to question his, where he ranks among the road course contenders now, ever since the next gens.
I thought Hendrick Motorsports in general disappointed. This is what I said earlier, that Toyota has caught up. Chevrolet doesn't seem to, at least not Hendrick specifically, is no longer the clear dominant team. I mean, Kyle Larson, I know I don't remember where he qualified, but he was running in the top 10, top 5. I think he qualified like 16th, drove his way up into the top 10. I thought, okay, Larson's going to be a threat. He's going to be a threat. And then that mid-race caution, the one where Truex fell back to 9th on the restart and then drove his way up to 1st. Larson was like 14th or 15th, and he just didn't go anywhere. Neither really did Chase Elliott, for that matter. They kind of just stayed there in the mid-teens, and that's when I realized, oh no, like Truex is obviously better than they are right now. So, Bowman was, I don't know where he finished. He was like 12th all day.
He finished 15th, and Byron finished 14th. So those were the two worst running Hendrick cars.
That's about where they ran all day. I think Byron got like top 5 track position because of a strategy play or a caution or something. But like just Hendrick was, at best, they were a 5th place car, and that's where Chase Elliott, probably the best road racer among them, that's where he finished.
Yeah, and then the rest of the top 10, AJ Allmendinger in 6th. Now this was a shocking stat I had found out from my Monday from my Monday upload. He has not led a single lap on a road course this year. That's very disappointing.
2.
Or I mean, yeah, I know, but still, I mean, AJ Allmendinger though, you feel like, I don't know, entering this year, like, oh, since he's running full time, maybe, he might be more of a contender early on. We still have plenty of road courses to go, but still, I would have expected him to be more of a contender, but still a solid P6 finish. McDowell, P7, Larson, P8, Christopher Bell, P9, and rounding out the top 10 is Ross Chastain. So not a bad run. For
Michael McDowell. I want to mention him real quick in case Jarrett doesn't. But he was looking like a top 5 threat until the pit crew, I think it was a pit stop. They had a wheel nut fell off the gun or something, delayed them. They fell back a few spots. But like Truex, he was one of the few who could pass, so he still passed his way back up into 7th. So a respectable day. Which I was looking at the standings. I know they're underneath me right now, but they're at a different timeline. Where is McDowell? He's only like 15 or 20 points below the cut line,
14
I think.
below the cut line and 19.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and the
Okay, I
cut
see it
line,
now.
the cut line's getting pretty tight too. It's
It is getting pretty tight. Yeah. So
And
McDowell,
we'll
he
go
didn't
over
win.
that a little
He
bit.
didn't win, but at least, he narrowed that gap a little. He's still in contention,
Well,
which is
Mhm.
good for him.
Here's the crazy thing about the cut line in general. We're 10 races away now from
Yeah.
the playoffs starting. Because after this bye week coming up, you got the 10 race run to the I keep calling it the chase, the playoffs. And you're looking at how close they are there, and you got Bubba 15th plus 26, Bowman's plus 3 and 16th, Suarez being right after him obviously is minus 3, Gibbs minus 11, McDowell minus 14, Allmendinger minus 33, Cindric 39, LaJoie 40, Haley 47, Gilliland 52. All of these guys, depending on what can happen, could be in the playoffs after the Nashville race, even without a win. Like, that's how close it is right now, where basically 16th through 24th all are within one race.
Yeah, and it's full of guys that, I mean, I'd say for the most part, just to start the season, have been, for the most part, disappointing. I mean, Austin Cindric's one, I didn't expect to be really in that range and stuff, and then also got colleague racing, they're still developing, but I'll be honest, I sort of expected more from Justin Haley. I think I even had Justin Haley in my playoff predictions thing. So that's one prediction that didn't.
I think
really
I had Allmendinger
pan
in my
out.
top 16, and
So
to your
yeah.
point earlier, he's been good on the road courses, but
he's not a
win
true.
one.
He's not.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a true contender though.
No.
Where it's oh
Here.
damn, oh there you go.
Let's see. Darian, you had both colleague cars making the playoffs.
Oh, that's even worse.
I think I had Allmendinger, right, Jared?
All 4 hosts had Allmendinger.
Oh,
I had both. Oh, that's even worse.
You were the only one that had Haley.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's still a Daytona race coming up, and there's still some
Yeah.
road courses. You never know.
That's bad. Oh, geez, man.
Yeah, to be fair, I can't say too much. I had Eric Jones making it.
and can't forget William Byron.
Yeah,
Byron and Truex not. So
even Truex. Well, yeah.
I was going off the trends of last year and realizing that that one is not a trend. 1 year
It's
is
all
not
good.
a trend.
It's all good. Hey, we all make mistakes. I see.
Owning it is the first step.
I see Dad in the chat says, Darian, you oofed up. Well, you also Jared oofed up too. We all oofed up in
Don't
one way or
deflect
another.
on me. This wasn't about how bad of a decision I made.
I'm spamming the oof face emoji in the chat, which
Yeah.
apparently you can do now. So if you guys see that,
Yeah,
that's me.
but for those who don't know, Eric just found out today, I guess, that there's these little emoji reactions you can now use in the chat.
That's got to be
So he's
new,
having fun.
right?
Well, they've had it, I think, for, I don't know, a little bit, I think. I don't know. I think it's one of their more recent add-ons.
Now everyone's spamming it. I love
No,
that.
that's just
No, that's
me.
good. That's
just
good.
me.
Oh, well, there you go. Get the
I'll just do a
chat to
bunch
start
of different
spamming it.
ones.
There you go. Get the chat to start spamming it. But we were talking about Michael McDowell earlier. All hail McDowell supremacy, and he's a potential playoff threat. He could potentially make it in on points alone, but he did run into some controversy though. Blaney versus McDowell there, and really it felt like Blaney versus a couple of Ford drivers there. You had what was it? The contact with McDowell.
And then it was, I think, was it Todd
Briscoe?
Gill?
Briscoe.
No,
No,
Briscoe.
Briscoe. Yeah.
Briscoe.
So yeah, Blaney was on track to having a top 10 run, and then he gets spun out by one Ford driver, and then gets spun out by another Ford driver on the other side of the track. And the post-race reaction was the funniest, because he was just like, yeah, it's just he got turned basically, and then I guess the guy was trying to ask another question, and then Blaney says, Stop trying to create controversy. So I guess he's over
Blaney. Blaney's not a controversial guy.
He's not. He's really not.
He stays away from that.
Yeah, he's really not.
It's tough. I didn't see, in the first instant, it looked like Allmendinger was really the guy who made the mistake. He overshot, and that sort of forced Blaney to check up, and then he just kind of got tapped by McDowell, who also was trying to check up. That was just kind of bad luck. I would say Allmendinger, if anyone, was most at fault. But then the Briscoe deal, I maybe it didn't look like even Briscoe hit him too hard, so I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, it definitely stinks. Weren't they on a different strategy? Didn't he stay out, and that's why he was even up there? So
yeah, and to be fair to Allmendinger and I guess McDowell, since he was the one that got into him, Blaney was holding up that whole group, and then on the second go around was holding up the second group.
Yeah.
I saw some people that were even Blaney fans being like, yeah, we kind of figured that was going to happen because it was what happens at these road courses. It's such an accordion effect.
I saw a tweet, I think, from Rodney Childers, because like there's a fan who was like, why didn't you Harvick's running maybe like 11th or something. Why didn't you try to stay out and try to go for the win? And Rodney Childers said there was a 0.1% chance we were going to win that race. There was like an 80% chance we were going to get spun out by somebody with fresher tires. That's why they did. And I was like, that's an interesting way to think of it as a crew chief. That's like kind of a cool look into the crew chief's mind there. Yeah. Why didn't you stay out and just go for it? Well, there's risk involved.
Felt like an analytical approach there. That's the crew chief's job, to analyze the situations there. And I don't know, I guess, since Blaney has the win, I guess his team figures, what the hell, we got nothing to lose. And even if we, finish in the back, it won't really affect anything. So yeah, I felt like Blaney probably viewed it as the same thing. But really outside of that, I mean, there were only 2 yellows and Hamlin had crashed and excuse me. The only 2 yellows were 1 for the Hamlin crash and 2 for the first caution of the day being the tire going out on pit lane and stuff. Because remember, road courses don't have any more stage yellows, which I'm cool with, just with that being everywhere and stuff. But for now, it's just on the road courses. And I gotta say, people were just, I mean, I saw some people complaining about, like Sonoma or whatever. But then I'm like, this is what it is, when you have no stage yellows and stuff, you have, different varying strategies and stuff. That's just the way a Sonoma race works.
Let it be known. I was rooting for a caution-free race because it'd be so damn cool to see. But I will say, I don't know if I necessarily agree with his take on this, but I found it interesting. So, I follow Moonhead on Twitter. And he put, kind of a half joke, but it kind of half made me think, which is his style.
I know what you're talking about.
And he had put, road courses were a lot more fun when there were 2 of them and everybody but like 6 drivers sucked at them. And I'm like,
that's very true.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, so how many road courses do we currently have on the schedule?
6, I think.
Okay. So I remember when they added those and stuff, and I remember saying, okay, NASCAR wants to diversify its schedule more and stuff. I felt like, all right, if we're going to have more road courses, I feel like that's the perfect amount at the moment. So it's interesting to see the differing opinions on that. But I mean, now it's like, drivers are more, they're more skilled with road courses and stuff because we run on them more. So
I just think it was interesting. I was interesting, like hearing Logano after the race kind of say that, hey, some road courses, like maybe we do need stage yellows back to keep the show entertaining. Dale Jr. on his podcast was already jumping ship saying, no, we need stage yellows back at road courses. I was shocked to hear. But my point is, no, I think that's fine. I think it was nice seeing this race play out a little more naturally. Yeah. The problem is the cars and to an extent, the drivers are just better than they used to be. That was the point I made on my show Sunday night was, the next gen car was built like a sports car. It was built to corner better, to grip better at road courses. That's why the Chicago street course is happening. That's why they just went to Le Mans and we're actually good. Like we're actually really fast. It's because the car is built for road racing. Whereas the charm of road racing in the past was that the cars weren't built for it. They wheel hop more. They didn't have as much grip. They were bigger, heavier. I mean, this car's still big and heavy by general comparison, but it handles better than the previous cars did. And as a result, the drivers, because there's 6 of these races now, actually practice more. The teams emphasize it more. So the drivers are better. The cars are a whole lot better. And on paper, that sounds like, oh, everyone's better. That should be a better product. But not really. Now it looks like an IMSA race, whereas the charm, I think, of NASCAR road racing was guys screwing up and running into each other and spinning out. And that just doesn't really happen consistently unless we're talking about turn 1 on a restart at COTA or Indianapolis. But that's a different issue. That's not a car. That's just
a track issue. Yeah.
My issue with their mindset on this with both Logano and Dale Jr. is you're falling into the same damn trap that NASCAR fell into with the Gen 6. Oh, the car sucks? Let's change everything else but the car around it until it's too damn late to try and make the show better. You make the car better, the show will be better. We've seen it now for a year and a half. The road course and short track program, which was supposed to be the part that got the best product and fix, has been probably the lowest 2 rated products for the fans. So I again, fix the car, do the hard work, don't take the shortcut. That would be my thing. I hate when people in the industry or when people who are commentators are like, well, let's just like add in this and add in this and add in that. Like stages in and of themselves don't have to be like with gimmicky cautions every race, if the car is good enough that the race is compelling enough to watch, you can still award the points during it. I think plenty of fans honestly like that better and like stage racing if that's how it is. The issue is the only time you do this is when the car isn't good enough to support that kind of racing.
And I think the fan base for the most part understands that. It's like, look, I mean, we asked for no stage cautions on the road courses and stuff, for no stage stoppages. So, it's not going to be entertaining for every single track, especially at Sonoma. I mean, just us coming from the diehard fan perspective, watching it for so many years, we already know Sonoma's going to race a certain way. It's going to race a certain way. It's going to be strategy.
Noah Coleman in the chat just put more power.
Yeah. and like a lot of folks in the chat were saying increase the horsepower, which to be fair, Le Mans, I think they had 750, maybe a little more than that horsepower in that car.
And
just proved you
400 pounds lighter.
Yeah, of course. But the fact that the horsepower number was higher and the car lasted 22 hours before it had any major issues, that tells me maybe we can up the horsepower sooner rather than later. Also, we know Goodyear is at least open to trying different tires out to try and reduce how much grip they have. So they're aware of some of the issues. I just hope they have the nerve to implement them, because I agree. The car should change first. Let's not try to change the formats all over or anything else. Start with the cars and the tires. Start there.
We got to fix all those combos first. We got to fix those first. And speaking of fixing something, Fox Sports, it's over. It is over now officially. Fox Sports closes out the 2023 season for both the Cup and Xfinity series. You know what? Hey, I'll ask somebody in the chat. I'll put a little poll while we give our opinions and stuff. But fellas, Jared, I'll start off with you. Now that the Fox Sports season for the Cup and Xfinity series is officially over for 2023, just give me your overall thoughts on the broadcast. Did they improve from 2022? And do you see them sticking around for quite some time for the next TV deal?
Well, I mean, if they're signed in for the TV deal, I think they'll be sticking around. But I'll say this. I think Fox overall is about the same as last year. I think some elements improved. Personally, I thought Clint Boyer, especially in the second half, was much, much better. He wasn't doing as much goofy stuff. He was actually being a little more analytical. He's not perfect. He went from like a D+ to a C-, but he went to being about an average commentator, about the lower end of it. But then you got like Mike Joy. Mike Joy made, especially towards the end, a lot of gaffes and showed his age a little bit. So I think everything has sort of been leveled per se. They've kind of hit rock bottom, and it's a very far bottom. There's a lot that they have to do, and I'm really hoping this new deal that they fix it. The pit reporting I thought was, honestly, it was pretty good. I think that their pit reporting team has gotten better as they become more of like a better unit together. Pre-race was pretty awful as normal. I thought the Xfinity series, honestly, has been a whole lot better. I think Adam Alexander, what Adam Alexander has proven by having somebody different in the booth with him just about every week, is that he is probably one of the most versatile now commentators that NASCAR has seen in a while, because he has to have chemistry with somebody almost every other week that's new. So I honestly think that for the Cup broadcast to improve, be more like the Xfinity broadcast, because they brought a lot of energy, still had fun, but didn't oversaturate it with jokes. So I would personally, I'd give the Cup coverage probably a D or so. I don't think it was complete failure, because there still is a lot of good elements that have been left over from Fox in the past. I'd give the Xfinity broadcast like a B personally. And then there's the trucks that we still have to watch.
I like Adam Alexander is great. I agree. He carries those Fox broadcasts about as well as you possibly can. I really agree with most all of your analysis there. I'll give Fox credit. They ditched the cringe skits for the most part. They did this sort of towards the middle of last season too, but they didn't really bring any of them this year that I can remember. I also didn't watch a lot of pre-race. On Clint Boyer, I think he did improve as the year went on. He got better, especially when it comes to energy. And you're right. He wasn't as silly, goofy. He was a bit more analytical. My problem with Boyer is he just doesn't have like the right voice for TV or the pacing. I feel like he would interrupt. He definitely interrupts the other hosts or Mike Joy more. Feels like sometimes he tries to add something and then doesn't actually say anything of substance. Like it's a lot of, people joke like a drinking game. Every time Clint Boyer mentions someone has a bad, fast hot rod, and then, take a drink. And he does do that a lot. A lot of times his analysis just devolves into he's got a bad looking hot rod. And it's like, well, that didn't add anything at all. Thank you. Mike Joy, I agree. Like this week, you heard him mess up the Truex Hamlin Stewart finish in 2016 a couple different times. He corrected it at one point, but I just think overall, what we remember most is the booth. I think, we forget about the times the cameras missed a good replay of a crash, or they cut away the worst possible time to go
or
commercial.
They didn't show certain things,
Yeah, like they missed the explosion at Gateway for the 50th millionth time in a row. There's just little hiccups here and there. You just get the impression they're not putting quite their best foot forward or the same resources into it that they were 15 years ago or even 10 years ago. But they did improve as the year went on. I am excited to hear what Harvick and Boyer sound like in the booth together. I think they'll balance each other out very nicely. And since it'll be the same two people all year, they'll build good chemistry. Mike Joy, my guess is 2024 is his final season. I hope he goes out with a bang. And once he retires from that, if he wants to, I hope someone gives him a podcast where he can just talk racing stories uninterrupted for a couple hours at a time, because that's what he would be best at this point in his career.
Yeah, I would like to hear Mike Joy's opinions. And he would have some pretty zesty opinions.
He could probably dish on some behind the scenes stuff we're not typically privy to.
I would like to hear. Yeah,
I'm sure that there's a certain driver who doesn't have any ties to really anyone anymore who would love to talk to Mike Joy at least once a week again. Lives a little north of us, Darren.
Daryl, are you talking about Darryl Waltrip? Who are we talking about?
I think Darryl Waltrip.
Oh yeah.
You think Mike Joy and Darryl Waltrip wouldn't want to just shoot the shit for like an hour or maybe 40 minutes a week on like a Zoom call or something? Like I think that would be awesome.
That'd be interesting.
Do you imagine the stories those two could tell just from the behind the scenes of the booth back in like the 2000s, 2010s era?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is a gold mine that is yet to be touched.
Yeah,
I would love an exclusive conversation about the TV side of things and the media side of things. I do think maybe I just because that's my background, but I would be fascinated by that.
Yeah, I would like to hear Mike Joy's takes on like the current state of like everything that's going on within.
Joe Buck should replace Mike Joy.
No.
I see that.
Oh my gosh, Elliot. If you've seen the video,
that's a great edit.
Oh, that's the one I did.
Great.
Yeah. Elliot wins.
Yeah, that'd basically be it. Oh man, but my thoughts on the Fox coverage. I mean, let's take a look at the poll. See, basically mid. It's pretty much mid. I went in expecting some cringy things and stuff. I mean, the Daytona 500 though, I remember people were just not ready for Fox Sports, bro, because like after that they were just like, I'm done, I've had it, and after that it was just like, wow, this is gonna be a long year for NASCAR fans.
That poisoned the well from the start. I mean, when you have, I'm looking at it now, when you have 8 million with a peak over like what 10, 11 million people, most of whom, because we look at the other numbers, so most of those people coming in either to let's see how NASCAR is doing, or complete casual fans, and they just see a complete joke broadcast for the Super Bowl of NASCAR, that from the start, I think, heavily weighs down the grade.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, the moment that I will remember the most of this season from Fox was, I think it was Wilkesboro. You hear Clint Boyer say, they're on board with somebody. Okay, stay with me here. I want you to hear how he throttles up off the corner. Stay with me. And they cut away, and you hear Boyer like either throw his pen or something in the background.
Like dang it.
That was the best part. Yeah, no, I'm with you about Daytona. I think fundamentally, like we talk about the broadcast a lot because that's the most in our face part of the broadcast. And that is a very important part. But more than anything, come 2025, especially, we just need to rethink what a NASCAR TV broadcast looks like with all the commercial interruptions for the biggest races. There's got to be a smarter, less intrusive, more innovative way to do the same thing, to still get your sponsors happy, to still, recoup the money you need to justify buying the rights to NASCAR. There's got to be a better way that doesn't seem so antiquated and outdated, because it's way too jarring, and it's going to prevent NASCAR from reaching the younger demographic.
Yeah, you got to figure that out for the next TV deal.
Yeah, I'll finish off on this. I will say the one thing that was completely different for me experiencing it as a viewer this year compared to ever before, this was the first time I muted the TV and just put on the radio broadcast instead.
Isn't the radio broadcast good? I mean, shout
Yeah,
out to
I
MRN
put I put
PRN,
PRN on.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
Atlanta.
both are great. Yeah, both are great.
And all I had to do was pause the race for 4 seconds to line it up based on the PRN broadcast online. And I honestly, it was probably the most fun experience I had with a broadcast because they covered everything. Like at one point, they're like, so and so goes down pit road, and I'm like waiting for them, like, oh, they'll show it on the screen. It was like 1 lap goes by, 2 laps go by, 3 laps go by. And then they show a replay. Oh, yeah, this dude went on pit road for a flat tire. Like, we might have needed to know that.
Yeah. It would have been known. Yeah, it would have been great. But yeah, hey, look, another year in the books for Fox Sports. Good luck to them for 2024. We'll see if they improve. I don't know. One can hope. One can hope, right? Like baby steps, right? Baby steps. So we'll see. But anyways, to close out their broadcast though, got to go over the ratings here. So I got to pull them up on the itinerary. I'll go over them really quick. The TV ratings for last weekend's Sonoma race, the overall rating was a 1.65. It was up 27% from the 2022 race on FS1, and a total of just a little over 2.9 million viewers. Also, a 30% increase from last year's race as well.
Both were on FS1 though.
Yeah, both were on FS1. And as for the key demographic, 500, just a little over 500,000, 517,000 to be exact, making up for 18%. So
sorry to be clear, this year's race was on Fox. Last year's was FS1.
Yes.
So I actually been keeping track, as I always do. I didn't put together the full ratings, just channels. Fox this year, as Big Fox, was down 12%. But interestingly enough, if I'm correct on this, yes, they were actually higher than 2021. So it was not rock bottom by any means, like some were saying. And actually, in comparable races to last year, FS1 was up 2%, which I was surprised by.
Now, it's surprising that cable was up.
Now, why do you think
it's because all the Fox races were the beginning of the year when Chase Elliott.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm like,
part of it.
Yeah, like that's definitely a part of it. I mean, yeah.
I think part of it too is you got the Daytona 500 that was down about 700,000 viewers year over year.
Yeah, that was still just like shocking. I would say, like with the star power with Johnson, with Pastrana, like I'm shocked that this year's race was down.
Yeah,
that much.
And remember every race before that, the ratings were up. The duels were up. I believe the Xfinity race
attendance for trucks and Xfinity were as high as I'd seen it in several years at least.
Yeah.
To me, it just continues to prove the point that I've been trying to make is that the core base is there. Like it's solidified. We have a core base that's accepted NASCAR as it is now. The marketing to get other people in is not working. The casual, the mainstream pull is not there. And it's either NASCAR, the networks, or all of them combined, drivers, whoever. Somebody needs to start doing something different because it's not bringing the new people in. It's just bringing the people who have always been there.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. So we'll see what they can do to improve in the future and stuff.
I will say the fact that 18% of the viewership was in the key demo, the younger demo, I was hoping that number would be a little higher because of Le Mans. I mean, yeah, I don't expect just one race. It takes time to really change people's viewing habits and bring in consistent new fans. But I was hoping because of the number of young people, it seemed, that were seeing NASCAR all weekend, all week leading up, I was hoping there'd be a little bit of higher percentage tuning into Sonoma. But, it's Big Fox. I don't know. Kids these days aren't watching Big Fox as much as they're watching TikTok and YouTube, which is where Le Mans was seen all weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got another ratings. We got some more ratings to go over from the one, the only, the poll, the famous iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, go over the poll ratings for
you got
from
it.
last
You
weekend.
tell me how we did this week.
See, I
gave it to you, buddy.
That's right. I do it on the channel. That's right.
I gave it to you.
So, anyways, the poll ratings. 8% of you thought this was a great race.
I didn't know Truex had that many fans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Toyota does.
Yeah, compared to some other races, though, oh gosh, it's pretty low compared to some other races. But 30 of y'all thought this was a good race with a net positivity of 38%. Now, 46 of y'all thought this was average, including myself, just another typical average Sonoma race. But meanwhile, 11% thought it was below average, followed by 5% thinking it was bad, totaling for a net negative percentage of 16%. So yeah. So where does that rank among the net negative for this year's races, Jared? Do you know
It's
that right away?
pretty high. I don't have the numbers on me, but it's pretty high.
Could you say at least top 5?
Oh, easily.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's probably
there we
top
go.
5 those. I didn't see. I just didn't think it was that bad of a race. Like you're saying, Darren, it was a very typical Sonoma race, which isn't. I mean, there are rarely a lot of fireworks, but it was
A worse race was the 2018 Sonoma race because Truex was ahead by like I think 13, 14 seconds. That one, that was crazy.
I was just relieved that we didn't get a bunch of restarts at the end and a bunch of dumbasses driving in 4 wide and wrecking guys like Truex who deserved the win. Like, I'm just glad we didn't have Coda.
Yeah,
I'm glad
we
Coda didn't
have
happen
humans.
again.
Yeah, I'm
now
glad
Coda was a really good race before all the crazy restarts.
Mhm.
Sonoma wasn't as good as that, but I'm just glad it didn't devolve the way Coda did.
Yeah, I'd rather have an average race just finish out average than turn into some shit show, basically.
Yeah. Well, looking at the comments here, I'll say this: Spencer Purcell was the first commenter, buddy. Your comment's pretty long, so I'm gonna shout you out. But I do want to try. I do want to read the second one that popped up. It is a bit shorter. I apologize. It's just I don't think people don't like when I read. I'm not good at reading.
People are posting their own podcast episodes in the comment section.
Remember when like we used to get like the ingredients for chicken noodle soup?
Yeah,
I miss that. I need some new dinner ideas.
We got the whole Wikipedia pages.
Somebody give me a Wikipedia page. I'll at least shout that part out. But anyway, the next one was from Isaac E24. Was it positive, negative, or meme?
I'm gonna go with meme.
Negative.
McDowell. I'm gonna win this race. One pit stop later. McDowell. I'm never letting you boys cook again.
It really, I mean, they gave up a ton of points too. I mean, well, not a ton, but I mean, they gave up a few there.
That was definitely a meme, but it was kind of negative on McDowell. So
yeah,
I get half a point.
Yeah, kind of.
You get a half a brownie point.
Yay!
Looking at some of these other ones here as they pop up. Combat Racer says Front Row Motorsports is one good pit crew away from being a yearly playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
Your front row's pit crew, they made up the low lights because it was Zane Smith's 38 pit crew that caused the first caution.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Landon Dinkins 9538 says this year's road course package has gotten way better if you ignore the end to the Coda race. It has improved a lot and it seems easier to pass.
A little better than last year, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Coda was good until the end. Sonoma is Sonoma. So I think what's next? Like Chicago, you won't know. But like, I feel like Watkins Glen will be the test because that's probably been the best, most steady road course throughout NASCAR's history, at least recent history.
Yeah.
I guess we won't know for sure until then.
I feel like it doesn't matter what type of package you have for Sonoma and stuff. Like even with like the Gen 4s and stuff, it was sort of similar racing. It felt like, but
yeah,
just me.
Let's see. Marshall Griffin 9125, who has the podcast Party Buses profile pic.
Nice. I love seeing those. I love seeing the cars and stuff too. That's awesome.
He put this felt like an F1 race.
Yeah, did it for y'all? Did it for y'all?
A few more lead changes than you see in F1 these days, but still,
that's why I didn't feel like it to me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it didn't feel like it to me.
Wasn't it 8 o'clock in the morning?
Netflix didn't ask me if I was still watching.
You know what? And I just thought about that. That's such a bad combo too. It's like
that's an underrated joke, Jarrett.
Yeah, no, it's good. But that's an underrated. That's such a bad combo. I realized like F1 just being so spread out, and you got to watch it sometimes at 3 a.m. Like, yeah, that combo.
Isaac Perez says that rhymed. And he didn't say that. I said that. He said, "I'd love to see NASCAR race at Laguna Seca. Sonoma is such a mid-track for not only NASCAR, but other racing series in general. Thank God for no BS stage cautions, though."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess IndyCar, when you look at their history there, I don't know, man. Nothing really sticks out to me.
I honestly really liked COT and early Gen 6 races at Sonoma. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. When Robbie Gordon finished second back in 2009, that's pretty good too. Yeah. I remember
2009
that
or
moment. Or
20,
2010, one of those years. Yeah, one of those
was it
years.
2007 that he was up there like leading the whole race?
I think so. I could have sworn one of those years he finished runner up in the 7, I think. I could be wrong though. Anyone in the chat will help me out, but
it's been like 15
yeah.
years.
Yeah, but no, I
I
do
have no
remember
idea.
I remember some decent moments in the COT era for sure. Yeah.
Let's see some other ones a little further down here. Sick Freak 6077 says, "Darn race kept interrupting my commercials."
It did feel like a lot of commercials, but that'll happen when there's no yellows and you're on
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah, they gotta run something. So.
Yeah.
So Andrew Meyer here, he always leaves his race rankings throughout the year, and I haven't been able to see him as much through the comments because we have so many comments.
Where's this rank?
Looking 16th out of 20.
Okay, so it's not dead last. All right.
It's ahead of the 2 duels, the Martinsville race, and the All-Star race.
Oh, he had the
The
duels
All-Star
rank?
race is last.
Okay. But he had the duels rank. I was shocked.
His
So,
top 3, which this is going to be interesting for later, is first is Kansas, second
Okay.
is the 600. The interesting one for later in the show we'll talk about. Third is the Bristol Dirt Race.
that'll be perfect. It'll be perfect to talk about later. Yeah.
That's interesting. Mr. Microwave here says Payne as a McDowell fan, a fellow McDowell fan.
But
Nice.
Mr. Microwave.
He still got a top 10 though. It's all
but
good.
he should have finished second. Like
Yeah.
if watching that race, he was the only one who could really. I would say the only one out of other than Kyle Busch who really actually kept pace with Truex for at least part of a run. There was no beating Truex. I'm sorry, he deserved to win that.
But dude, I mean, at this pace, he's gonna point his way in. I feel like he's gonna. A couple things are gonna go his way. So y'all still got time.
I don't know, man. Like even at 80%, Bowman and that 48 team are strong still. Like they're still consistent. Let's get down to the bottom, the gutter comments here.
Oh gosh, yeah, the gutters.
These are funny.
Oh.
All right. Master Carl says, "Don't watch no more. Since cable over $200 a month and Fox only runs races on Fox." Really? I thought they ran them on NBC.
What?
So
Huh?
don't care.
Okay, but you got enough for the internet. No.
He could have watched. That's the point. Is he could have watched this race. Everyone, you can get Fox with a.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Don't
saying.
you know Fox only runs races on Fox? And it's
God.
cable.
So I've heard.
All right. Okay.
Then,
All right.
TMB Wooby says, "Road courses are boring, and this car and package specifically are terrible, but having a non-gimmicky race was refreshing at least." That's not the most negative comment we've
Yeah,
had.
that wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, that's
Wasn't
okay.
bad. Yeah.
The lowest one, even though it has 5 upvotes, is Ross Crash Stain.
What did you do, Ross?
What'd you do?
It's
Yeah.
just your normal Truex win, nothing to see here.
No, I guess what he's saying is like, oh, it's just another boring Truex win. Because I guess like I don't know, like whenever he wins, he just dominates.
He does do that a lot. He's known for that.
Yeah.
And I want to watch the last couple races of the year, but man, those NBC races are only on NBC.
Oh no. What are we gonna do?
All right, that's the poll.
Yes, and that'll do it for this edition of the famous Iceberg Poll, the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And we are just a little over 10 minutes before we reach the top of the hour, so we got time to get this in. They also ran an Xfinity race, of course. Now I was working the fairgrounds with IDK player, trolling some Chase Elliott fans in the process.
Yeah, why don't you fill everyone in on that?
Oh
quick?
gosh. So there was that. So if you guys don't know, I've been doing stuff at the fairgrounds. Me and IDK player have since last year. And I do post-race interviews as well as I organize the victory lane stuff. So I'm the boss when I'm down there. So you got to listen to me. And, I got to do the banners and interviews and all that stuff. It's like, hey, let's get out, ASAP so we can get this done, right? So he gets out the car. It's a Legends driver. He just got out the car and stuff. And I was like, oh, look at that. That's a cool looking, gold looking Chase Elliott font he had on his Legends car. And I was like, hey, he didn't have to right hook anybody to win. Awesome. And then I laughed a little bit. Now, I couldn't hear. Well, no, I couldn't hear any reactions or whatever. But IDK told me that there were so many people shaking their heads and stuff, just like, wow. And then, and I got told by a couple people afterwards, they were like, dude, you have like giant balls, man. Like, I kid you not. Like I don't know, it's just, it's just I'm there to have fun. I'm there to have fun, man.
I can't believe that.
So that's what I was doing
Well,
there. That's what I was doing.
If according to everyone for about the last year, I will say from the leader of the Chase Elliott haters, I approve you trolling.
like, dude, like, I mean, Chase Elliott fan, they do it to every other driver. Like, I mean, like, you remember when Bubba Wallace had his thing or whatever? I saw so many fans say, like, come on now, just have some fun, y'all. It's all good. Like, Chase Elliott's back. He got P5. He can't point his way in anymore. That would have been an awesome story, but he can still win.
He's only 84 out.
Oh, well, actually, never mind.
He made up 14 points this weekend.
All right, well,
he does that every week. He'll make it.
Never say never, then. That'd still be crazy, but yeah. So, anyways, I couldn't watch the Xfinity race because of that. So, Eric, Jared, I'll have you guys fill me in. Eric, you start us off. What happened? What happened?
I should have. I forgot to brief you guys on this before the show. I was at a wedding. I did not see the Xfinity race either. I forgot. I legit have not gone back and watched it. I have no clue what happened. I know Eric Almirola won, and I keep hearing people say Larson choked. I have not confirmed that for myself.
He hit the tires thing, the tire barriers, from what I could. Is that what happened, Jared? He just hit the tire barriers, and that's
and he kind of like overcooked the corner too. I'll be real. I was watching it on my phone while I was at the Rockford Speedway.
Oh, we were all doing something.
Oh my God.
The first ever race at Sonoma in the Xfinity series, and none of us could give two hell like anything about it.
To be fair, that start time is kind of ridiculous. I can understand just because they didn't want the drivers to be overheated for tomorrow. So I'm running double duty, or for the previous day of racing, or for the next day of racing, excuse me. But it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. Like, damn.
But the big thing is Almirola got the win, which I immediately had my phone blown up about.
Yeah.
In a Sieg car, no less.
Yeah. That's good. I think it was Stuart Haas prepared from what I read, but it's still Ryan Sieg.
It's still a W. Yeah, it's still a W for that team. That's what's
great.
Up. Yeah, that's what's up. And
I'm sorry if there's. I'll watch every race I can, but man, if you're ending Xfinity and truck races around 10 p.m.
dude,
like don't be surprised if instead I go and watch some freaking trailer races, man.
I'll put it like this: we were just wrapping up at the fairgrounds, and then I had two fans come up to me and say, "Hey, great job tonight, thanks." As I was packing up to leave, they're like, "You want to watch the last 3 laps of the Xfinity race?" I'm like, "Oh, it's still on." They're like, "Yeah."
At least you two were doing racing related things. I was not. I slacked off this weekend when it comes to Xfinity. So
you were spending time with the old family.
I was at a wedding. I didn't really know very many people. I made a lot of new friends, I guess.
And there you go, new friends, being more social and stuff. That's what it's all about.
I'd invite you to come to the trailer races next weekend, but this was the last one ever.
Oh man! Well, they
way to bring the mood
down,
Jared.
They went out with a banger though, because that place was a mess.
They literally broke the wall. It was the second time in 75 years the Speedway ever broke the wall. I'm gonna get the video set up for next weekend, and we'll watch. I'll show you like about a minute of it after the lightning round next week. But there was one of them who basically ran himself off a trailer, launched himself in the air, and went through the signs in turn 3. You guys have been there. You know how tall those signs are. Took them completely out. There was the dude with the hot tub that was full of water. That didn't last too long. A few people got stuck in their cars with the cockpits on fire, and the person that was announcing is just like, "Don't worry, the fire's out," and we just see it like getting bigger. We're like, "No, it's not."
So so chat, can you tell we were so invested in the Xfinity race?
We all knew it was like the one leech race of the year. Like at one point I looked and like the top 6 were all Cup guys.
And Larson was like nearly a second faster than the field in practice and qualifying. So it was just looking like, but then he choked it away.
No. You had to go and be like, Larson's unstoppable. Nothing will beat him now.
Well, I had to do something, right? Because people assume I have these like mythical powers and stuff. So I'm like, let me play the stick. I'm like, I didn't do anything.
No, I get a nudge beside me, and Slap just puts his phone next to me and goes, "How the hell does he do it?"
That is perfect.
And then Emp sent him a message saying the same damn thing about you.
Oh, even Imp was talking about. Hey, look, it's a perfect bit. I'm just playing up the bit. I don't do anything. Y'all are acting like I'm self-satisfied.
Well, the bit
like
is
nothing.
reality.
It didn't work on Truex though this week. I saw that.
It didn't. It didn't. You know, it's very hit or miss sometimes. But hey, you know what? And you know what? It was to my own detriment because I picked Larson to win. So if he would have won, I was like, but you know what? I have to play the bit role, and look what happened. So there you go. But yeah, the Xfinity Series race happened at Sonoma. That is a race we will pretty much forget about right now.
I was just thinking. I think. Well,
I still have to watch it.
I think this is the first time ever. I think Danny was busy on Sunday too, or Saturday night too. I think.
Oh, so we were all busy.
I think it's the first
Wow.
time none of us actually saw it. This is
Wow.
like this is like one of those like eclipses that only happens once, or like Halley's Comet or whatever. It only happens like once in 100 years.
But here's the thing: we
Yeah.
all had legit reasons for why we couldn't, though. That's the thing. That's okay.
I did watch because I didn't have anything to do during the day on Saturday, so I did watch like 7 or 8 hours of Le Mans, which is by far a record for me. So I'll give myself that pat on the back.
I saw that a poor gecko got taken out in the line of Anthony Alfredo Fire.
Oh,
they got the car
yeah.
back to the shop after his practice crash. They get
Yeah.
there's a poor little gecko in there, and I got a pet gecko, so it's sad.
Damn, that's crazy. But that was even crazier that the throttle just hung like that. You don't really see that too often.
The whole right side door like sheared off.
Maybe during Super Chats. How about this? During the second round of Super Chats, I'll bring my very much living gecko out. Her name's Lil Dude.
Okay.
Lil Dude.
Yeah,
Lil
bring Lil
Dude.
Dude.
She has a permanent smile too, and not like a creepy Joker one, but like an actual. Like her face is just in a nice little
With teeth.
No teeth. No, just adorable little gecko.
Yeah, bring Little Dude out. And you know what? We might as well get into it now. But yeah, the Xfinity race happened. We're never going to talk about this race ever again. But yeah, it was the first Sonoma race at Xfinity. Yeah, I don't know. It's just because we didn't see it. Yeah. It wasn't a horrible race. It's just we didn't see it though. So, at least
and yet we spent 8 minutes talking about it somehow.
Yeah,
look at us.
I had to stretch it out. I had to stretch it out to damn near the top of the hour, right? So we are close to the top of the hour, which means we are at the first Super Chat stage break. So we got a few Super Chats. So once I begin reading them off, start the timer. Let's get into it. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you so much for the $5 Super Chat. Poll. Oh, I guess he wants me to put this as a poll, maybe. He says, it says poll. How many road courses? A, none. B, I hate them. C, or no, excuse me. Yeah, well, yeah. A, none. B, I hate them. C, Sonoma and the Glen only. And then D, less than 6.
I think biased.
There's a lot of interesting options considering 2 of them are road courses suck.
Yeah. I think I'll go with. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. That's kind of tough.
I mean, I guess I'd go with less than 6.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah,
4 or 5.
Less than 6. Yeah, 4 or 5. 4 or 5. I'll take that. And then Spencer Purcell with the BFM channel membership. And he's been a member for 2 years, 24 months. That's awesome. Yes. And he says 2 years. What the heck is a kilometer? Oh man, thank you so much for being a member for 2 years, bro. Really appreciate it. And then Jimmy Lios with the $10 super chat. Hi guys, that was a great race from Sunday. Also, Darian, you did a great job finishing in the top 15 of the NR Cup Series race, and good job for Jarrett commentating the race from last night. After the super chat stage break, we'll talk about that for a little bit. And then Dom the Race Fan 5 with the Dom the Race Fan with the $5 super chat, says, looking at Ross Chastain, I don't think he'll ever need that talk. It's not an issue for him. Okay. Yep.
Did you notice? Did you see the part where he lifted? Logano came down, was about to wreck himself in front of the whole field, and Chastain lifted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See that?
I mean, those smart. I mean,
yeah. Starting to change it up a little bit. Isaac with the $5 super chat. With Elemental, I think that's what it says. With Elemental, the latest Pixar film releasing this weekend. Time to remind Elemental, excuse me. Yes. Time to remind everyone, Ratatouille is overrated. Bringing that old meme back.
It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. Hunter Nixon Fishing with the $5 super chat. Yes, we can put the MTJ retirement rumors to bed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe,
Absolutely,
yeah.
we can. Yes, we can. And it's nothing with the $5 super chat. Weekly question: with no race this Sunday, what is the best race to go back and watch to satisfy my eternal boredom?
For me, it's going to be the Xfinity race.
You know what? For pure entertainment purposes, the 2005 Coca-Cola 600. It's long. There's a lot of wrecks.
Yeah.
Great racing as well during when there was green flag racing. You know, there you go.
Let's see. I'll say 2009 Sylvania 300 is pretty good. I've been rewatching the 09 season, and I recently saw it, and I'm like, wow, I thought this race was good. I didn't realize it was this good.
Didn't Junior get taken out in that?
Yeah, but Ruderman.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm not gonna spoil the winner because this race did happen almost 15 years ago.
Yeah. Then Eric, what do you think, Eric?
I know I was literally joking that I would do the Xfinity race, but
okay.
As far as any race to pick, I don't know. Take any of them.
It's a lot. A Kensington. Let's just say Kensington. There you go.
2012 Talladega.
Let's do the 2016 Dover race. Had that great finish.
There you go. It's a good one.
I don't remember the rest of the race, but had a good finish. Oh, it had Lee Johnson blowing a shift or something. Yeah, that too.
All right, I'll read a couple more here. Isaac with the channel membership, been a member for 1 month. Thank you so much. Wish McDowell still had the 95 for McQueen from Cars. Okay. It's still
Michael McQueen.
Michael McQueen. There you go, Michael McQueen. And then Edible Giraffe 59 with the $5 super chat. So have we established yet who's the new face of Toyota? Have we at this point? Or
I kind of thought
still
it was
up in the air?
between Hamlin and Truex.
Yeah, that's what I feel like it is. I guess
Christopher Bell was in the championship 4 last year.
If you want it on a marketing side, I guess you could say Bubba Wallace, because marketing wise, he's probably the highest Toyota guy.
Yeah, for marketing, but I guess driver wise, Truex right now, just based off. Points.
Just seniority and results. It's got to be Truex. He's the only champion, right? In the Toyota pipeline right now.
Yeah.
Give him that. Give it to Truex.
Yeah. And oh gosh, the super chat just did the same thing.
Well, you're past the 3 minutes anyway.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, they did that thing with me where like it spikes up and down and stuff right randomly. It's weird, but yeah. But anyways, that'll do it for the first super chat stage break. And before we head into the lightning round, we just need to talk about just one more race. Last night's NR Cup Series finale. Jarrett, talk about that for a brief moment. First off, for me, that was an awesome race to join last minute. Only my second start of the season. Was able to finish top 15, but Demos is the champion. But that was honestly the greatest iRace I've ever been a part of. And I'm not exaggerating. For those who didn't watch, explain just, what took place.
Well, we had 2 races on my channel for it, but for those who are kind of out of the loop, me and IDK Player do a iRacing series called the NR Cup Series. 10 races and just full season championship and all that. So last night was a championship race. In all honesty, the championship fight ended up being a dud, which we kind of figured it would because Demos had been far and away the best. No matter what, he would have won it. But the finish itself was actually really fun. Actually, I do have it if people want to see the last laps or so.
You play it? Yes, please. Yes, please.
To kind of give you guys a little rundown of what happened leading up to this, we'd had a relatively clean night. Actually, speaking of that Johnson crash at Dover, we'd had a very similar restart crash earlier on, but it ended up becoming a fuel mileage race towards the end. And all the leaders were saving. It was really fun. Well, I'll play it really quick. I'll probably mute our mics for a moment. That way I'm not, I'm not blowing out everyone's mic while we're going in this. But here we go. Where'd it go? There it is. All right, here we go. I'll show it to you guys, and I'll shut up.
They're even again. He's going to go ahead and send it. Mason may squeeze, might not need to. This Red Bull has been absolutely perfect all night long. There he goes, and he's going to say goodbye with 15 to go. He's coming to pit road. Oh, he's coming to pit road. Oh, no way. He didn't fill it up all the way. Here comes Burrows to take back the lead. 1 to go from Chicagoland. Is it a 4P for Burrows? Is it going to be the second win this season for Braden Mubik. Final time to 1 and 2.
He's down low. Is he out of fuel? He's out of fuel.
He's out.
It's Mubik. Mubik's not gaining.
Yes, he
is. Mubik's coming to the line. Burrow's out of fuel.
Can he make it back? 6 back, maybe 5. Just trying to get to the line. Anthony Burrows. Is he going to make it?
Oh!
Anthony Burrows just beat Braden Mubik to the line. Victorious from Chicagoland.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it. That was the finish. Funny thing is, Mubik, the guy in the 42, ran out of fuel on the front stretch too, so that's what cost him the win.
What are the odds though of that happening? One guy's running out of fuel, and then the other guy just ran out of fuel as he's about to pass the dude for the win. That's spectacular. No gimmicks or nothing.
But it was a lot of fun, and it actually opens the door, and I can now kind of fill everybody in on this because we finally have a date set for this. So mark you guys' calendars. We do have every year a race that we do that is the NWP 400. This year, the NWP 400 will be on August 22nd, Tuesday night, right before the podcast that week on Daytona week. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to have probably, I won't say how much yet, still getting that all figured out, but a pretty big winner's prize. And we want to see all of you in the chat for that. We're going to have a ton of fun. It's on IDK Players channel. And then we're going to have an encore presentation, I believe that Thursday, where we premiere it on the NWP Clips channel too. So if you miss it on the live view, we'll still have it on another channel too. That way multiple people will be able to see it. There you see it now on the bottom line, August 22nd. And then the next night will be on Danny's channel. But should be a lot of fun, and we should be having a lot of people that you might recognize in that race too. Because if I'm not mistaken, there are really no other major iRacing events going on. So really,
I'll be there.
I'll be in it. Darian will be in it. I'll be commentating. Eric, you and Danny will be in the chat. We'll have you guys be the hype men going for it
in the chat. Fun.
It should be fun. 160 laps at Daytona. It should be a fun night. But figured now is a perfect time to say it, and now I probably won't shut up about it for 2 months.
I'm glad we officially announced it now, but yeah, look out in late August for the, what is it, the third running of the NWP 400. Yeah, third year in a row. Wow. I remember the first year we did it too. That was fun. That was an awesome race, and last year's race was awesome.
Over $1,000 too, and we might actually this year.
It's
going to be nuts.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one indeed, but hey, wouldn't be possible without the fans supporting it. So thank you guys so much for watching. And now we are about to move on. We've had been a bit of a cloudy day here, but I haven't seen any thunder, but what I've heard is a little bit of it's the lightning round on the NASCAR weekly podcast. Jared, what do we have on tap for tonight on this beautiful off week?
Well, seeing how it's the off week, in this edition of reading off Adam Stern's Twitter. No, I'm kidding. I realized when I was going through it that half of this is from Adam Stern, but it's not.
He puts in the work.
Well, it's honestly not too much stuff this week. NASCAR is a new merchandise licensee with the Australian retailer Universal Store. So NASCAR really trying to branch out to different countries, because this is, I believe, the second week in a row we've talked about different brands that are big in other places. So
hey, props to them.
Has anyone gotten any of the new Abercrombie and Fitch? Fitch
no, I'm not buying that NASCAR. I'm sorry. I love NASCAR. I'm not wearing that though. You're never gonna.
What if it's like the only not ugly NASCAR shirt?
Maybe, but I haven't worn that. I haven't worn them in middle school. But oh, great.
Well, the Daytona International Speedway may be the temporary home for the Jacksonville Jaguars as their stadium is being renovated. This according to Adam Stern as well.
And it's kind of perfect timing, because the Jags, they're kind of looking like dark horse Super Bowl contenders eventually. They're one of the teams on the rise. So that'd be pretty cool if they played at Daytona. That'd be awesome.
It'd be amazing if if they won the Super Bowl, if that Super Bowl winning season was all taking place at Daytona.
Daytona, yeah.
They do the championship parade around Daytona International Speedway. Imagine the AFC championship game being played at
Daytona. Yo, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it? That'd be cool though, too. Like, that'd be some future stuff.
My vote to put the Super Bowl at Daytona. I'm kidding. No, It's too
Yeah.
close
Well,
to
hey,
500.
the famous Milwaukee Mile once hosted an NFL championship game. So,
Oh.
just saying. Yeah.
Last two things here. We'll get through them real quick. Lamar was up 59% in viewership from last year. They got 161,000 on average for like the entire 24 hours in America, compared to 101,000 last year. And if you want to go to the Phoenix finale, you're not going to be in the grandstands because they're sold out again.
Hey, and props to look, there's a reason why Phoenix continues to host the championship races, stuff like that. I mean, it's mid-June and they're already sold out for the championship race. So
It's always good to see them selling this out months in advance. That's always cool.
Yeah, so that's great.
Wasn't it during the year last year when it sold out too?
I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 months out, maybe last year.
I looked last year. It was also, I think it was actually late May last year, so it was around the same time.
Oh, okay.
I know the year before might have been later. This was early, it felt like, but I don't think it was as early as last year.
Okay. I knew it was earlier than at least one of them, but that is a lightning round.
And that'll do it for this edition of the famous lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now back to the show. And really quick to answer Jake's question, no, me and Jared are not Nashville Predators fans. Go Knights, champions of the world.
Las Vegas. I guess if my default is the Blackhawks, I don't know.
There you go. But yeah, Golden Knights, champions of the world.
I don't watch hockey. The Rockford Ice Hogs. There you go.
There you go. But imagine being like a fan of like a franchise that's been around for 50 years and just 0 titles in this like Vegas and there's 2 Stanley Cup trips.
Bro, I'm a Vikings fan.
I know. It's crazy. But hey, it's hockey. This is hockey, so it's not football. It's different.
Can't spell skull without an L.
At least he can joke about it.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Actually be mad? Like, it is what it is. Dude, I'm a Cubs fan. Like, it could be worse.
And you get it. But no. But
anyways, happened, though.
Just wanted to answer Jake's question, but yep, go Vegas. But anyways, back to the NASCAR news. We still got some stuff to talk about before we do the 55 through 51 on our top 75 Cup Series drivers list. We got to talk about schedule rumors and possible expansion talk. Yeah. So, and Jared just talked about this in the lightning round. I mean, NASCAR has really been going all out and stuff recently. We're trying to expand and also trying out some different things on their schedule. So here are the rumors for what the future schedule holds. So right now, Dirt Bristol is rumored to not be on Easter, but it could be replaced with an Easter points race at North Wilkesboro. There is a 10-year plan for North Wilkesboro, according to Adam Stern. So, fellas, Eric, I'll start off with you. We had talked about, the potential of Dirt Bristol not coming back. I had stated from the very beginning, I think it's going to stay on there. Otherwise, Bristol is not going to have 2 dates. They have proved that, hey, they'll take one off and stuff. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about this potential schedule swap? And where do you think Dirt Bristol would fit on the schedule? I mean, would that be the new All-Star race maybe? Or
Jordan Bianchi said Bristol Dirt's gone. Like, it's just not going to happen. Which tells me, and that he's not reporting that. He says he feels very strongly, or he's very confident that Bristol Dirt is out. Okay. Which, I mean, this should have maybe been my hot take, but I'm like disappointed to hear that if that is the case.
Yeah, me too.
You mentioned, I don't remember who it was, one of our commenters had Bristol Dirt as one of their top 3 favorite races of the year. I don't know if I'd go quite that high for me, but it's probably top 5 this year. It was a great race. Bristol Dirt, it took them 3 years. Year 1, racing it during the daytime, had its issues. Year 2, they got some help from sort of rain coming and going. That helped them pack the track in, but still wasn't perfect. Year 3, it was perfect. Year 3, NASCAR looked like they'd been racing on dirt for decades. They never stopped, and that told me that, we, if anything, need more dirt races. Even go to Eldora, go bring the Cup cars to Knoxville. Like, you can do it now. Maybe 3's too many, but you want the teams and drivers to take dirt racing seriously. You got to add a couple more. So that's where my head went after this year's Bristol Dirt race. So to now hear that Bristol Dirt may be gone, and I mean, I don't think Jordan Bianchi talked about this, but I have a feeling if Bristol Dirt is gone, Bristol is down to 1 date. Yeah, like they're not bringing Spring Bristol back to it's going to go somewhere else. It's either going to go to North Wilkesboro for a points race, or they'll figure something else out. Maybe it gets the All-Star date again, but that didn't go over super well in 2020. They had to put lights on the car to gimmick it up. I just don't know. I'd be sad to see Bristol Dirt go, unless maybe they drop Bristol Dirt and Eldora gets a date. Like then, okay, I might be able to sleep at night, but that's not going to happen. It's an SMI owned date. They're going to swap it with another SMI track like North Wilkesboro or what's not. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm a little disappointed, honestly. I'd like Bristol Dirt.
I'm very disappointed, actually. Yeah, because like you just said, the third year, it's like, okay, the racing's finally coming together. But then also, too, I had noticed, like, before the racing had started, people were already stating their opinions, like, yeah, I want this to end and stuff. But I'm like, guys, like, some of y'all don't realize if Dirt Bristol is gone, we are not getting another Bristol date. That is it. We're only limited to one. I mean, because they're not, I mean, it's been proven that, fans aren't going to, come for the spring date. And obviously there was a whole lot of, weather factors and stuff that have, played in, over the past decade, but still, like, even when the weather's fine and stuff, that place just doesn't look as packed as the night race, clearly. And, Dirt Bristol was at least, something to try and get more butts in the seats. And for a little bit, it worked at first, but I don't know. Now they're looking to get rid of it. That's unfortunate.
Well, something that keyed me off on, I don't know if it was Phelps or Ben Kennedy that said it, but one of the main goals NASCAR has with scheduling with this new deal, which I found very interesting because immediately in my brain, I was like connecting 1 and 1 here, making 2 out of the fact that more than likely the tracks are going to get a lot less money. Is they're like, we need to go to places that sell out. I was like, that's interesting. Because for the last 20 years, since they streamlined deals and didn't let the tracks do the deals themselves with TV, they haven't really had to worry as much about attendance. I won't say it wasn't a non-factor, but it went from being like 50% of the revenue or whatever to like a very minimal amount. And Bristol, in their first date of the season, has if we're going off sellouts, has not met that since 2008 or 9. And it certainly isn't going to mean it now unless you drastically cut attendance, which then you're cutting the attendance from the fall race. So it sucks. I personally, I'm with you guys, and I hate just all of us parroting each other. But I've been on the Bristol Dirt Race, I want to say from about the first race on. I was apprehensive beforehand. I liked it. But I won't lose sleep if it's not there, just because I have lived in NASCAR without dirt. As much as I like dirt racing and I wish they would do more, I understand if fans don't speak to it or like it, then don't do something that they continue to hate.
Sure, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
But I will say, I like that they're going to keep racing on Easter. I get that it was a long tradition not to, but it was a long tradition for sports leagues not to touch Christmas. It was a long time. It was a tradition in many states not to have any sports on Sunday.
And the ratings would suggest that, people love watching racing on Easter.
People are home on the holidays.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, people watch TV on the holidays. As much as people don't want to admit it, and you're not spending your whole day at church. Like, I'll just put it like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I been to church just about every Easter since I was born, and I did not spend a whole day there, even if it felt like it.
I'm home by noon. Yeah.
But yeah. So, I get people not wanting to, and especially, like tradition aspect, but if NASCAR can own Easter as their holiday, that'd be a huge step, I think, into having solidifying another major date. You have like Southern 500 on Labor Day weekend. You got Memorial Day weekend with the 600. Usually the Sunday before President's Day is the Daytona 500. I feel like if you solidify another date for Easter, it's another pillar that the networks can put in that ensure a lot of people will show up, and in turn would help the sport. I don't think it's like a bad thing to race on Easter.
Yeah, and a North Wilkesboro race and stuff. I mean, that does sound appealing on Easter and stuff. Bringing that track back on the point schedule and stuff. It's just, just having to lose Dirt Bristol. I mean, that would suck. But I mean, I would also I would understand it. I mean, they just invested millions into that track, so you might as well use it for a points race. But
I'm just a little worried.
10-year plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm a little worried because they're going to repave it, I guess. I would assume. And if they do that, I mean, that's half the charm of the track gone. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it just
you got
kind
a
of
point
is.
there.
And if they can't fix the cars, I'm not going to be that as excited for it in year 2 as I was for year 1. Now, if they reconfigure it, which maybe they would, and maybe there'd be some pushback there, but if they do something to make it more than just a 1-groove track, I don't know. They made Bristol a 2-groove track. I loved Bristol before they put dirt on it, and a lot of fans didn't. So maybe what I like is just opposite of what other people want from their short tracks. I don't know, but I'm not like North Wilkesboro isn't a slam dunk in my opinion. Like I had a lot of fun there a few weeks ago, but like I'm glad it has a future. It should have a future, but I don't want them to, what's the word? Like make it too big or put too much responsibility. Like, now it's a points race on Easter in year 2. That feels like a lot of kind of pressure almost to put on this, what's probably going to be a brand new track if they repave it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I worry about that a little.
And then the question of the All-Star race comes up. I know some people were saying the rumors even at the track were like, oh yeah, All-Star race and then add a points race. I don't think they do that. Only 2 months apart. Easter is March 31st, I believe, next year, and the All-Star
They might
race.
just go back to Charlotte. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
NASCAR wants to compact the schedule together. My idea would be with that is what if you do the All-Star race either like the Thursday or Saturday night of the weekend of the 600. Probably Thursday would be better so they're not gassed the next day.
Yeah.
And you just tighten that schedule up just a little bit more. I know they're not going to. They're going to have their own weekend, so Charlotte might be an option. I know people don't want to hear it, but the ratings proved it did better. What if they bring Texas back as the All-Star race again? They got more in attendance. Got better viewership. I mean, I can pull it up right here. North Wilkesboro this year.
Because it's in that market. It's in that Dallas market.
I am not arguing for this. I'm just saying what they're thinking might be with it. Bigger market, yes. 2.203 million watched at the exact same time the North Wilkesboro All-Star race. About 2.5 million watched Texas last year. And the year before that, 2.7. So granted, the event's been going down, but they could say, let's bring Texas back. I hope not.
The chat's going crazy with that. But I mean, Jared,
he
brought up numbers though. I mean, I could see that too. Yeah. I mean,
SMI needs to create their own stadium race. That's what it is. That's what they got to do.
Maybe they bring it back to Atlanta. It's a super speedway. Now they have their super speedway clash the way that ISC used to.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't think that's not an impractical idea.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Who knows?
Bigger market too. They could advertise it to the Atlanta market, and it would fit to advertise crashing and stupidness.
Is there any chance? I've not followed. It feels like every week I see a different headline that confuses me. Is there any chance they could race Nashville Fairgrounds in a year?
Oh, in a year.
Not in a year.
So no, not a year.
Not a year.
So right now, they're still renovating like a lot of so they're still building those.
They're still not approved to really do anything. Right?
Well, right now they're currently their biggest project is right now these apartments are being built in between the soccer stadium and the racetrack. So they're technically low income housing, but they look really nice though. So I guess they're only low income because they're in between, the stadium and the racetrack and stuff.
Location.
Yeah. So I don't know. I might have to see what the rent is.
The problem too is, we went to the SRX races. Darian, you and John have been at these races.
There's not a whole lot of space.
The traffic issues, they're having issues for like 7,000 people there, and NASCAR wants to bring 30,000. I think it's going to get pushed through. The mayor says he's going to push it through, which I believe he will. But
it's going to take time.
Well, it might be done by the end of the month or summer. But from the data too, it showed that Miss 5 F1 tracks was in the minority because it sounds like about 60, maybe 50, 60% of people actually want NASCAR there.
There you go.
It's that loud vocal minority that's like 20% or so.
Okay. So the public out here, they're for it mostly. So that's
maybe SMI could rent Rockingham for a weekend.
That would be a bad idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And you know what? It'd keep the teams close to the Charlotte hub too, so they could have a bit more off time.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. But there's more to this though. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You see what I did there, but it's more to this. Garage 56 officially opens up operations. Ben Kennedy said that NASCAR in Le Mans is part of the global expansion plan for NASCAR, as well as industry execs having been visiting all around the world in different regions, one of which is the Middle East. And Kennedy also is using this to think of the 2025, 2026, and 2027 schedules. So fellas, Jared, I'll start off with you. Is the international scene the way to go? We've seen, golf be get involved in a bit of a controversy with that. We've seen, F1, going. I mean, F1's always been global, but they've been going to different places and stuff. And some other sports leagues, like the WWE, are also going to the Middle East. But I don't know. What do you think about this overall expansion plan as a whole, Jared?
Well, okay. I don't think it's a black and white answer here. I like going to different countries. It's what countries you choose to go to. I like going to Canada. I think there's a big base in Canada. I think there's a good base in Mexico to go to. That doesn't break the bank for the teams either. I even think maybe in the future, especially with the reception they got, maybe going to countries in Europe. I'm very apprehensive. I won't even say apprehensive. I am very much against going to the Middle East, because if we read between the lines here, who's buying in with all the sports in the Middle East? It's Saudi Arabia. And we've seen the box that them putting money into golf has put golf into. I mean, they've always had money there, but they now, with starting Live Golf not even 2 years ago, within 2 years, basically had the PGA down on their knees, merging with them. And when you have sports entities over there, their government is involved in all of it. And I do not like the thought of the Saudi Arabian government being influencing in any way the decisions that NASCAR makes in any regard. And I think that just, especially the direction NASCAR looks to go socially too, just it does not fit whatsoever.
No, I think that's
the almighty dollar. Sorry, go ahead. I think the almighty dollar speaks more than morals.
Yeah.
And if they're talking, it's like the number thing. If they're talking about it, they're probably in the midst of doing it. It's just lightening the blow for fans. NASCAR, in my opinion, is not in the same box as a lot of these bigger operations, like the PGA, like the NBA, like the NFL. If the NBA goes over and becomes China's lapdog, they can kind of take that hit because they're a much more popular global league and much more popular in America with their base. NASCAR is still very much a niche sport, and any hit to its base is going to be huge. I mean, we saw with the Chase Elliott effect, if we want to call it that, 400, 500,000 people leaving. That's an NFL game. It's like, oh, damn, we're only down like 2%. Damn,
I guarantee you
that's 12 to 14% in NASCAR.
I feel like a lot of fans would, if they were to announce a race for Saudi Arabia, I would definitely see a lot of NASCAR fans just saying like, hey, I'm not watching this, like, just for the, protest. I mean, I've seen it with F1 time and time again too. Whenever F1 races there's a ton of people just don't watch neither, but then there's also that whole money aspect too. Like, I'll put it like this, like, the soccer player Messi, he signed with Miami. Before signing that deal, he was offered $1 billion to play for the national Saudi Arabia team. So that says that says a lot right there. They have endless pockets. They got a ton of money, and obviously NASCAR is like, money, you know what I mean? But yeah, again, it goes back to what Jared just said too. You got to think about the, your core audience. I mean, your core fan base too. I mean, do you really think that announcing plans to run a race in the Middle East or something would be, looked at, and in the best light out here in America?
Money over in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I love the prospect of going to Canada, going to Mexico, South America. It seems like there's a lot of a base growing there. Europe. There are some areas of the world that just fundamentally do not line up with NASCAR's values or its fans. And I just feel like you're very much going on an edge that I don't think NASCAR, where its viewership here is, can afford to take the blow of.
Mm-hmm. Eric, what do you think about this?
I don't know if first off, I wholeheartedly agree with pretty much everything Jarrett said. I don't think I would be a fan of racing in most areas of the Middle East. But to your point, there's a lot of money there. They're spending money on Live. They're spending money on all sorts of sports. F1 keeps going back there. I mean, and if you also said this, if they're going to start racing overseas, it's going to start costing the teams a lot of money. that may be where the money comes from. Like that's how you make it possible, is by taking some of these deals. I don't know that it would hurt NASCAR's base that bad. I mean, it wouldn't be great PR if there would be bad headlines. There would certainly be detractors, but for me, I don't know that it's worth it, because I just don't think, is there any appetite for NASCAR in the Middle East right now? Like, is there any? It would be a completely like new and foreign thing to them. And maybe like, oh, okay, that'd be interesting. What is this? This is American. Oh, but like, you don't know that. I feel like it would be a huge risk. I agree. I think with what you're saying, Jared, is that Canada, no brainer. Go to Montreal next year. It should be done. No doubt. Mexico, definitely possible. Done it before. Can be done again. Maybe some spots in Europe, maybe even like a Japan, although maybe that's further down the line.
Hey,
start Europe, start South America.
What about the UK? The UK, maybe?
Exactly.
I mean, they got a ton of tracks out there.
Places in Europe, I think are fair game. Start there, but to jump all the way to Saudi Arabia or Japan, China out east, it's. I think you got to start small. But if it's Saudi Arabian money that allows you to go travel the world, I mean, I don't have to like it, don't have to agree morally with all of it, but is what it is. NASCAR would not be the first major sports league to fall into that, So I don't know. I think they're going to watch and see how golf plays out. I need to read more about how this PGA Tour Live merger really works and what the fan response, at least here in the US, will be like, because they could watch that. I do think there's at least some crossover between NASCAR fans and golf fans, and might be a way to get a read on what the social appetite for something like that would be.
The big difference.
Go ahead.
Well, the big difference with the golf thing is that, NASCAR's talked about having a series over there, which if they did have a series, their government would be involved in. The way they kind of, I would say, dismantled golf was they basically just bought out like 12 of their biggest stars. And when I say bought out, I mean paid them like $50 million per golf event.
Like I think Phil Nicholson was like the biggest star.
Yeah,
because
I think they paid him like per like 25 mil, 50 mil, whatever. And
something
some of these
crazy,
guys made like
crazy money.
I'm talking like $200 million. Some of them
like they basically made like their entire career earnings in like the span of like maybe a few matches,
a summer,
or something like that.
A summer,
or summer.
They made that in a summer, and they basically just outspent them. It's kind of like what we saw with the Gen 6 era, where the bigger teams just outspent the smaller ones. That's what we saw on a literal sports league level. And now, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that continues to happen. The difference that NASCAR has to these other ones is that there isn't that league over there yet. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they bought like the USFL or something to compete against the NFL. Like stuff
USFL.
Like that. I mean, I really think that this is something that's come up quick, is gonna be really big for NASCAR, in whichever way they go, because the sports market will completely change with this, whichever way it goes.
Well, I agree with something 8-Bit Ghost Ripper Dragon just super chatted. We need to fix our star power problem, a bunch of other stuff. Like, I agree. Like, the idea of NASCAR racing in the Middle East might be interesting to some extent, but who the hell in the Middle East, or for even that parts of Europe, is going to relate to Chris Buescher to see that guy as a star? Or Michael McDowell, or even Chase Elliott for that matter. If they don't know who Bill Elliott is, why the hell are they going to care about Chase Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia?
The only one I could see is Tony Breidinger, but like she's in trucks part time.
Which I'm not even talking about Middle East. I'm just saying in general, like Lewis Hamilton. Okay. Max Verstappen. I mean, obviously they're European, Lewis British. but they look like superstars. I'm sorry, but Ross Chastain translates here in America. A watermelon farmer from Florida is just another dude. I don't know enough culturally, but is that going to translate in Japan, for example? Like, I don't think they're going to see him as a star. It's just he's a guy.
Yeah, not too much, but yeah. No, appreciate the super chat. I'll be reading the rest of that later, but yeah. I think that's about it with that topic. A lot of changes happening. We'll see what NASCAR does in the future. Definitely like them to go to back to Montreal, Mexico, and stuff like that. Most countries, I would be fine with, but then there's quite a few we just talked about that I'd be like, kind of stay away from. But hey, at the end of the day, it's a business, money talks. So we'll see what happens. All right, since it's the off week, the off weekend to be exact. We obviously aren't going to be doing any pick points or whatever. We're not even going to even reveal the current point situation right now. So we'll save
Thank
that for next
goodness.
week. Yeah, we'll save it for next weekend and stuff too.
I have
Yeah,
a
we'll
week
save
to recover.
Yeah, so we'll save it for next weekend. But if you know the point system, then I'm pretty sure you already know. The chat already knows where they're at in points. But yeah, I know, Blue Jimmy. I wish we could do it, but hey, it's the off weekend. But instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go over and continue our top 75 drivers, NASCAR Cup Series drivers list. To celebrate 75 years of NASCAR's history. Tonight, we're going to be going over 55 through 51. Now, as we keep going through the list, Eric's mentioned this as we were starting. We're starting to recognize the names more and more and more. And Eric was pretty spot on. Just every single list, it's just, okay, more names I'm recognizing more. So I feel like we're like past like the really, really hard ones and we're approaching the easier names. At least for me, these names are easy. I've grew up watching one of these guys and then some of these other guys a little bit older, but we'll see.
Let's see who we
got. Yep. So at 55, and diehard fans are going to appreciate this. At 55, we have Ernie Irvan. Ernie Irvan, one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR Cup Series history, not to win a championship. Let's go over these. 15 career wins. The Daytona 500 winner with Morgan McClure, long before a few years before Sterling Marlin. So that team won 3 Daytona 500s in the early 90s and was a championship contender driving for Robert Yates. That's what he's mostly known for driving. Specifically the 1994 season, he was on track. Him and Dale Earnhardt to start off the year had a pretty awesome points battle. Unfortunately, had his near fatal accident sidelined him for quite some time, but then eventually came back to win at the very same track that nearly did him in 1997. But unfortunately, he's one of those guys that, sacrificed his mind, his body for the sport. In 1999, he had another crash, another head injury. Just, after that, he retired. He's like, that's it. I can't do it no more. But I mean, obviously was pretty good to even though he had parts of his career cut short by injury, is still 55 on this list. And I'm seeing I had him the highest, and I see Jerry had him 56, Danny 56, Eric and also the chat 56, and Eric also had him 53rd as well. So you guys seem to agree with me.
Yeah, I think pretty even comparisons. Everyone had him similar spots. Swerve Irvin. A lot of folks have brought his name up in recent months when talking about Ross Chastain, someone who maybe early in their career went through kind of a similar arc. But no, Ernie Irvan absolutely deserving of a spot well inside the top 75. You guys know me at this point. My list is skewed by if you won big races, this guy's a Daytona 500 winner. So that's a big deal for me. But Darian, I want to know, I guess, why you had him. You had him the highest of all of us. I'm curious. Did you see something a little more special?
His performances with Morgan McClure really stuck out because he's the driver before Sterling Marlin that really established that team. Now, I know that's a good point. I believe you had Rick Wilson. He was like more of an underfunded guy and stuff. I think he finished second with them at one point, but no, he was like one of the first guys for that team to get him wins consistently. And like you said, I mean, a similar arc to Ross Chastain. I mean, he was the new guy on the block back in those days. And then once Davey Allison had passed away, they were looking for a new full-time driver, and he was the best available. So did the most when he was healthy. Keyword, when he was healthy. If he were healthier, he'd definitely be higher on this list. Might even have a championship.
Well, I'll say this, and it was talked about in the chat too. I mean, the dude survived a basilar skull fracture.
Yeah, that says it all.
That says it all. That's the injury that took out Dale Earnhardt. So the fact that he, like, today has a normal life and all like that's just badass in general. I'm just gonna say that's true.
That's when I say like sacrificing mind and parts of the body, like I was not exaggerating. Like he really did.
And to put this in perspective, through 20 races out of, I believe, 31 in 1994, when we say that he was in a big battle with Dale Earnhardt for the championship, he was 27 points behind Earnhardt. The next closest was Rusty Wallace, 326 back. He very much could have won that championship away from Dale Earnhardt. Now, again, we can play the woulda, coulda, shoulda with 11 races. That's a lot of time. Anything could happen.
But he was the closest. He was the
Yeah,
closest. Though.
that was
Yeah.
about the closest that somebody came to beating
Yeah.
Earnhardt in any of his championship winning seasons.
Yeah, could have stopped the 7th championship
Well,
potentially. But
And I believe that was Dale Earnhardt and was it Andy Petrie was the
Yeah.
crew chief at that
Yes.
time at their
Yes.
best.
Mhm.
So that not an easy feat whatsoever to be not only in the same league at that time, but fighting basically shoulder to shoulder with him. So I think he very much deserves a spot in that, around here, 55, 56, is about where I had him. Yeah, I think he very much deserves it.
Yeah. Now, number 54. This guy, more recognizable. I think he's without question the most recognizable name on this portion of the list. Span the 69s, folks. Greg Biffle.
Amongst younger fans. Sorry.
Yeah, amongst younger fans, excuse me. Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle, y'all, is number 54 on this list. We grew up watching him drive for Roush Racing all those years. 19 career wins. It was the 2005 runner-up in the championship to Tony Stewart. That was arguably his best year. Or actually, no, not. Or I think that was his best year, actually. So statistically, ended up winning 2 Southern 500s during that time span. The 05 and 06 Southern 500s were the only monumental races he won. I mean, he was in the chase year in and year out. Was extremely consistent. Pretty much he had won for Roush Racing all the way from his rookie year in 2003 up until his final win with the team in 2013. Now, I'm looking at this list. Eric, you want to explain what's going on, Eric? What's going on? What happened?
I noticed, so a couple weeks ago, we were, I don't know, it was like 70 through 66 or something. And I was looking at my list and I suddenly realized somebody mentioned Greg Biffle. And I was like, oh, where did I put Greg Biffle? Like 48th, 50th, maybe I put him 69th just for the memes. I'm scrolling through my list and I didn't put Greg. I forgot to put Greg Biffle on my list.
Oh no!
Which, yeah, I mean, give me all the meme me all you want. Yeah, that was obviously an honest mistake. I just can't believe it was Greg Biffle, who for years I considered probably my second favorite driver because he was the Roush guy. He was Kenseth's teammate, pushed him to the 2012 Daytona 500 win, and yet somehow I forgot to get stiff for the Biff. He still races in SRX. I think he said he wants to do another truck race at some point soon.
He wants to do a potential Xfinity Series race at Portland too.
Yeah, that's what I read. I apologize to all Greg Biffle fans out there, of which I considered myself one of you until now. I can't believe I choked this hard. That's pretty.
But you know what?
Bad.
Even though you left him off, I mean, he's still pretty high. I mean, damn.
Yeah, I think somewhere in the 50s is probably most accurate. You mentioned a lot of his accolades. I just remember the first year I watched was 05. The first complete year I watched was 05, and Biffle was a championship contender that year. That was probably arguably his peak. But when Roush was in their prime, Biffle looked like he was in his prime, and I respect that he was how old was he? Like 33 his rookie season.
Yeah,
Still had a solid 12, 13 year, 14-year Cup career and was stout for much of it. Won a couple big races, was typically in the playoff or sometimes even the championship hunt. I respect Greg Biffle. I'm embarrassed I forgot to put him on my list. That was just an honest mistake. I can't believe it.
Well, I'll say for Greg Biffle, the thing with Biffle is very much like we talked about with Casey Kane. When Biffle was on, he's one of the hardest people to beat. When he was off, though, it was like he was off. But yeah, I mean, he competed for the 2005 championship against Tony Stewart. He was up there for a good portion of the 2008 championship fight with Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson. Was one of the most consistent guys I remember in 2012. And he's a wheelman too. That's one thing. Like, it gets thrown around so much where it's like, oh, this guy's a wheelman. This guy. Like, we all know they are, but like, what sets him apart? And Biffle, if I remember right, always would drive a very loose car. Like, and it would just be on the edge of control, just about every race. I got to see him win in 2013 at Michigan. Beat out Jimmy Johnson, I believe. And it was pretty badass seeing Biffle win like that. I believe it was his second win in a row at Michigan, if I remember correct. But Biffle is somebody I feel like who gets forgotten a lot when it comes to really good drivers, and he really needs to be remembered better. I'm glad that for the most part we had him up here. I mean, something else that people forget too. He won, was it 3 years in a row? He he won the finale.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he was
I
good.
should have put that in there. Damn, that's right. But yeah.
04, he was an afterthought because he won right in front of the championship fight between Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. In 2005, he won that nail biter
with Mark
photo
Martin.
finish with Mark Martin, and then people forget he beat out rookie Martin Truex Jr. in 06 for the win. So impressive career that
good point.
really needs to be remembered better.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be remembered better.
It's at least being remembered on our top 75 list at least. So yeah. So yeah, he's number 54, Greg Biffle. At number 53, a driver that was a bit before Greg Biffle's time, Mr. September himself, Harry Gant. Harry Gant, 18 career wins. The reason he got the nickname Mr. September was because in 1991, he won 4 races in the month of September. I believe it was like beginning of September all the way into beginning of October by the time we reached the 4th race. But because he did that, he got the name Mr. September. And that was during a season where, wasn't a championship contender or anything like that. He was just on it those 4 races. So that historic run's forever remembered. Also won the 84 and 91 Southern 500s and the 1991 Winston 500, which some of y'all are asking, why is that a big deal? Well, back in those days, the Winston 500 at Talladega was considered one of the more monumental races at the time. You just had to win that, and it was a part of the Noble 5, which I believe the winner won $1 million or something like that. Something they won a lot of money, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, he's
what I liked about him, he's kind of like Biffle, another driver who came into the Cup Series when he was a lot older, but yet still had a fully fleshed out, successful Cup Series career. But I also love all the nicknames he had: Mr. September, Handsome Harry Gant, Skull Bandit. He drove the 33 car. So yeah.
But hey, chat. Yeah, the chat only had him 65, by the way. Shame on you guys.
Well, and I want to say this too. He was part of that championship fight in 1992. And if I'm not mistaken, he was sick as a dog that day. But still toughed it out for that chance to win. I can't remember where he finished in the points in that one because it was a 6-driver championship fight. I'll double check that right now. But I believe I want to say he finished 4th, but I could be wrong.
I believe he was top 5. You think he was top 5?
We know he was
chat,
top
verify
6.
that for us. Yeah. Verify that for us really quick, chat. But yeah, the chat only had him 65 though. But I mean, I had him in damn near in the top 40s there. Yeah, 44th there. But I mean, it was a no-brainer to me. I mean, you look at the wins, you look at some of these tracks he won at too. And of course, I mean, the whole Mr. September run there. I mean, for that time period, I mean, that was pretty historic too. And also just considering, where he was in points at the time. Again, he wasn't a championship contender,
and
it's
the
just
age he
just
did
happened.
it at.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had the pathway that so many other drivers had even at that time to get in their late 20s even. Had he had that opportunity to get in a good car in his late 20s on, can you imagine the numbers he could have put up?
Yeah, and that's for a lot of guys too. Because I mean, back in this era, I mean, guys didn't really reach the Cup Series until I don't know, 30s if you were lucky, 40s, 50. I mean, it was an older dude's game back in those days. It's clearly changed now, but Harry Gant was the last of a dying breed. For inevitably the young kids took over. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, just got tweeted out by Adam Stern.
Oh.
Read it, Jared.
It's Chicago street race stuff here. 2 of them. New Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says that he is impressed with how hardworking and collaborative Julie Geis and the entire NASCAR team have been, and that events like the Chicago street race are critical to continuing positive tourism growth, and then follows that up with the deal between the city and NASCAR is a 3-year deal with 2 option years beyond that. And NASCAR says they remain committed to seeing this contract through to the end. So, okay, at least the second part was stuff we already knew.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, that's probably the first positive thing we've seen the Chicago government say about the street race.
Yeah.
It wasn't Mayor Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what stood out to me was it feels like every week there's a new hit piece. I don't want to say hit piece. Sometimes it actually is bad news, like people breaking and stealing equipment last week. But a lot of times it's a lot of obvious people pointing out, oh yeah, traffic's going to be bad. Like, well, yeah, no shit. Traffic's bad in Vegas too, where they're repaving everything for F1. Like a lot of things that are just kind of obvious, basic complaints. This is one of the first. It's from the Chicago Tribune as well. I mean, I assume that's got to be one of, if not the biggest newspapers in that town, with some very positive things to say. And it's the new mayor saying it. Because originally this was the previous mayor's kind of pet project almost. So the fact that the new mayor seems to at least be voicing some support is a little bit of a change. Okay.
New change of tone. All right. At number 52 on our list now. At number 52. One of Dale Earnhardt's best friends and also one of the greatest drivers ever, Neil Bonnet, the late Neil Bonnet. Another driver, 18 career wins. That seems to be the theme. Our drivers have been in the 15 to 19 win range thus far, but 18 career wins. Some monumental races included the 79 Firecracker 400, the 81 Southern 500, and the 83 World 600, and was also winner of the first ever NASCAR race ran outside of North America in the 1988 Goodyear NASCAR 500 held in Australia at their old oval they used to have. I think it's still up, but it's abandoned now. But Neil Bonnet was one of those drivers, doesn't have a championship to his name, but he was a threat. Usually every other week, it felt like, especially at Talladega, was part of the old Alabama gang. Tragically passed away in 1994, and really just another driver, quite kind of like Ernie Irvan. Just injuries sort of derailed his career. Unfortunately, led to his tragic passing in Daytona 500 practice in February of 1994.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he supposed to go up in the TV booth like right after that? Wasn't that supposed to be one of his last races too?
Yes.
He was going to retire and go to the TV booth. So,
yes.
It definitely is another one of those stories where I don't know how he'd be remembered if it wasn't for this. Because I feel like when you talk about Neil Bonnet, people always are like, well, it was Dale Earnhardt's best friend who died at Daytona. And it really overshadows just how good of a career he had, especially if you look from 1979 to 1988, all but 2 of those years he won. And all but 2 of those years that he won in were multi-win seasons too. Looking at some of the career highs, even in 22 races in 1981, led 1,500 of the 4,900 laps that he was a part of.
Wow.
Looking through as well, point standings wise, had 3 straight seasons in the top 10 when he did run full seasons from 1983 through 1985. So I feel like he's one of these guys. He's of the 5 we talk about today. It feels like he's the one who's most forgotten for his accomplishment. Like it feels like a theme this early in the list of drivers.
I mean, like there's a lot to look at. I mean, multiple monumental wins in big races and stuff, and then 18 career wins. I mean, 18 career wins in the Premier Cup Series, especially in those days, that was no slouch. And I mean, like I know some people view Daytona and Talladega wins a lot differently now, but no, back in those days, you actually had to have not only pure talent, but awesome car setup and stuff, amazing strategy calls, to win those races too. It was a lot different. Felt like it was a lot harder to win those races, in my opinion. So yeah, rightfully we have him at number 52 for F.
I like your point though, Jared, that like some of his accomplishments do get overshadowed because whether it's Dale Earnhardt or the Alabama gang, a lot of what he becomes known for are the people he was around and those associated with him. But absolutely deserving to be on this list. And I think it's interesting. Basically, this entire section, 55 to 51, are arguably they are some of the best Cup drivers to not win NASCAR championships. And I think Neil Bonnet fits very nicely into that list. So I think we got him. I mean, most all of us have him there in the high 40s, low 50s. I think that's about where he probably belongs, but it's deserved.
And the final driver on this list tonight at number 51, if it wasn't for this driver, Hendrick Motorsports may not even exist. Jeffrey Bodine. And the reason I say that, I'll get into in a little bit, but also just like Neil Bonnet, Harry Gant, and Harry Gant, 18 career wins, won the 1986 Daytona 500, The 1994 All-Star race, that wasn't with Hendrick Motorsports. That was a little bit later in his career. That was for Alan Kowicki's old team that he eventually bought up after he tragically passed away. But he won Hendrick Motorsports' first race at Martinsville in 1984. And Rick Hendrick credits that as the race that kept him in business because the previous race, they were about to shut down. Money was about to run out. They kept the faith and, stuck it out for one more week. And because of Jeffrey Bodine, Hendrick Motorsports is now, they've gone on to become the juggernaut they are today. But really his career, Jeffrey Bodine, he was a part of some pretty interesting moments. He won that famous 1990 North Wilkesboro, or no, excuse me, that famous 1989 North Wilkesboro race where Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd spun out each other. He had his rivalries, his little run-ins with Dale Sr. as well. He also raced with some pretty competitive teammates too at Hendrick. I mean, it wasn't just him. Darrell Waltrip was there, Tim Richmond as well. So, he had to earn his wins, his 18 career wins during his time with that team. So, Eric, how do you feel about having him on this list?
I think it's I think it's very well deserved. Not only I don't know if you mentioned it, he also won the Winston. I forget what year it was. I want to say 80. No, it was in the 90s.
I said the 94 All-Star race.
94, yeah. My bad, All-Star race. Yeah, I forgot they called it the Winston. So I don't know. Well deserved. I had him at 49, just inside the top 50. He also had a modified career before going cup racing that I think about sometimes, but I know this list was mainly Cup Series success. So, you kind of hit on all the highlights. I like that he's still around. I like that he's, I don't know, I feel like he was at a race recently. But
might have been Wilkesboro.
No, I don't have much else to add.
Well, and people forget too that he raced well into the 90s and 2000s. People forget that he's that guy who was in the giant crash at Daytona, like where the truck explodes and
oh yeah, like yeah, that's right.
But I think the big thing that people are going to remember him for, on top of his accomplishments, is that rivalry with Dale Earnhardt was probably the ugliest that Earnhardt has. It was probably, if you ask me, the ugliness of that rivalry defined that little kind of 5-year span of time in like the late 80s or so. Like those two hated each other with a passion. And he pushed that team and Dale Earnhardt to the limit at times. So, and you know what, to good value too, because he's a great driver. I mean, if you look at where we all put him to, we are all pretty consistent, like within 5 spots, where most drivers, we have at least one person who's an outlier. Like it's pretty much a consensus, and it should be, of just how close we all put him together of how good he has been.
Yeah.
Or had been.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't want to forget him on this list, of course. But wow, we are now officially into the top 50. That's insane. It feels like we just started this yesterday, right? But we'll be going over 50 through 46 next week on next week's NASCAR Weekly Podcast. So stay tuned for that. We're going to reveal whose channel it's on at the very end.
Danny's.
But there we go. Then it's going to be on Dannybtalks next weekend. So we'll continue that list. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in for this part, going over 55 through 51. And like I said earlier, since we have no picks, since it is the off week, we have now reached the top of the second hour of the show. I'm going to read through the rest of the super chats we have. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, go grab it really quick. And thank you so much, guys, for not only tuning in, but sending your super chats. Let's get into it. GN NASCAR fan 24 with the $5 super chat. What Jared said at the start of the year, Mike Joy to pre-race / mid-race / post-race host like Ken Squire did at the end of his career. Yeah, I could see that. That'd be a good one. But I would prefer him in more of like a podcasting role. I feel like he would say what's on his mind and stuff, because I don't know, when Mike Joy gets when he has an opinion, man, he lets us know.
He can be spicy when he wants to be.
Yeah. And then Austin with the $5 super chat. Broadcasters aren't the worst part about Fox. It's the producers and directors. They don't seem in sync with the commentary. Random cuts all the time. Yeah, I agree. And I'll share this right now. y'all remember that little segment I was on for Atlanta and stuff? I actually like talked to like one of their not their producers, but just one of their guys working for them and stuff. And I was like, yeah, do y'all see some of the stuff that said? And like, yeah. So they're aware of some of the criticism. Just to FYI,
Damn.
they're aware of some of it. And then to Alex with the 2-hour super chat. I was at a wedding this weekend too, my own. Well, congratulations,
Ooh,
congratulations,
congrats.
bro. That's awesome. That's awesome. Need for Speed 5353. Been a channel member for 2 months. He says Gecko, and that's what Jared's getting.
Yeah,
the
Jared's
Gecko.
going to get him.
And then Trevor Bailey, been a channel member for 26 months, just a little over 2 years. Thank you so much, Darian. Don't jinx my drivers while I'm in Nashville. Well, hey, your driver
You're going to tell
better
who
not
your
run
drivers
good.
are.
Yeah, better not run good, I guess. And I won't talk about him. Napa Racing Fan 927, been a channel member for a month. So here's his poll. It says A. Oh, okay, I read it wrong. My bad. It says A 0, B Sonoma and the Glen, C less than 6, and then D just 6 races. I'll stick to the 6 road course races. Yeah, sorry for reading that.
I'll take 4 to 5, but then ask me which ones to cut. I mean, I guess Indy is obvious, but besides that, I don't think it's an easy pick anymore. I guess the Roval, maybe it is easy. Cut the Indy road course and the Roval and put them both back on the oval.
I agree. And there he is.
Oh, little lizard.
Look at that.
Gecko. I apologize.
Gecko. Hi, little dude.
Little dude.
Edible Giraffe 59 with the $5 super chat. Y'all think Darian has weird powers? Twisted Toe. They are always somehow predicting stuff. Maybe I'm this community's Twisted Toe, I guess. Maybe.
I probably should actually put her away. She's curious.
Oh gosh. Omega Trucking Replays. Thank you so much for being a channel member for a month. We should have more super speedway races. I mean, we already have 3 tracks and it totals out to 6 speedway races. So I mean, we already have 6 road courses. So I mean, I don't think
we need more super speedways. I think 6 is a cap.
I feel like we have the perfect amount currently.
Get little dude on the mic, Jarrett. He's his headphones on.
Ask him how many super speedways we have.
Yeah, get little dude's pick for Nashville.
Yeah. Then Blake with the $5 super chat. During the British broadcast of Le Mans, they accidentally called Project 56 a Winston Cup car. What?
Whoa!
Crazy race, by the way, especially the first 8 hours. Yeah, it was looking like ARCA.
Yeah, it was the hour-long caution periods made me thankful for what we have in NASCAR.
Yeah, but that's cool that some still preferred to as like a Winston Cup. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then Video Game Sports just sent a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, man. And then Alex Luff sent 2 $5 super chats, but the first one he ended up deleting. I'm assuming because maybe he spelled something wrong. But in the second one, he says, who is the most stubborn NASCAR driver in that, or no, excuse me, who is the most stubborn driver in NASCAR today? Can't be any more stubborn than my Corgi, the pooch.
Corgi?
The pooch. Oh, Corgi. There you go. The pooch in my profile pic. Oh, okay. So he's basically saying his dog.
I saw that one earlier. Yeah, that cute dog in the picture.
Yeah, cutie, such a cutie. Who is the most stubborn driver in NASCAR today? Would y'all say? That's hard.
That's a tough question to throw me back in on.
Damn.
Yeah, like stubborn. That like implies they don't really change, but maybe they should.
I mean, at first it could have been Ross Chastain, but it seems like he's trying to change now.
Yeah.
So damn.
Maybe Logano. Some people in the chat are saying Logano, but it works for him. Like why? And I don't think he has as many enemies as he used to. Like certainly people know he's not going to cut him a break. But
you can still be stubborn and be successful, I guess. So maybe
Newman. Ryan Newman's.
Newman. Pick. Yeah, Newman too.
I see that in the chat. Ryan Newman is a good pick.
I'll go with Newman.
Well, but if we're talking full timers,
I have to go with Logano then.
Well, we're not.
But if we were, I'd say Logano full time, all of them Newman.
Yeah. Video Game Sports with another $2 super chat. What NASCAR race should I go to? Only been to Sonoma. Race at Daytona or Talladega is pretty fun.
If you're out west, I'd recommend Las Vegas or I mean Phoenix. The facility's nice. The racing may not always be fantastic, but the facility is very nice. Vegas is probably a good balance. It's a decent facility, pretty good racing.
If you get out to the middle of the country, if you can't make it like Daytona, Bristol, Talladega, like one of those main staples, I'd say give Kansas a try. The facility is pretty much up to date, and now with the next gen car, the racing is awesome, so you get the best of everything. Plus the access that you can get as a fan, just getting the normal fan pass to pit road, honestly beats just about any track. It's other than like not being able to get into the garage unless you pay more. It's honestly like having a hot pass. I'll be real. Like it's honestly pretty cool.
8-bit ghost, 8-bit ghost Ripper Dragon with the 2-hour super chat. Eric, you like Raising Canes, right? Of course he does.
I do.
Of course he does.
Was that it?
I
Was
love
that the whole
too.
super chat?
Yeah, that's it.
It sounds like they're like threatening, right? Like, hey, you like Raising Canes, don't you?
They got a gun. They got a gun to your head or something, right?
Hey kid, you like some Raising Canes? You want some candy?
MRX Gaming with the $5 super chat. If NASCAR is going to go international, they should race in the UK at Silverstone. Yep, I agree. And with Toyota, you should race in their own backyard in Japan. Yeah. I mean, Toyota sponsors the whole damn. Might as well go all out, right? And then 8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon sent two $5 super chats. The first being, someone tell the iceberg his hat and headphones makes him blend in too much with his backdrop. Needs some color like a flag in the backdrop.
Well, here's the issue. This is nailed to the wall. It's not moving. And here's the other issue. For some reason, my white balance on my camera does not register red very well. I used to wear a red hat. It'd make me look more red than I look now. I'd have to actually take a little trip with me.
I look pretty pink right now, so
see that ring light right there?
Yeah.
I'd have to make that green for me not to look like a tomato. I might have to test it out now.
Oh, test it out right now.
Well, let's see.
This is the red light. You can probably tell.
Yeah.
Now the green light here, because I didn't have the red, you can kind of see the green still. But
yeah.
I wonder, what if I just the rest of the show just this is cool.
That's kind of cool. Almost looks like a black light.
It looks like one of those like cyberpunk kind of discos.
Nice.
And then his second super chat says, I think we need to fix our star power problem and solve streaming before we go global. Pretty based. Fix the issues with the broadcast, i.e. cartoon, GFX, and Michael Waltrip. Yeah. I mean,
Michael Waltrip's not. At this point, Michael Waltrip has moved down their list of problems.
Yeah, they got a little bit more. Yeah.
I got the disco light on.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Should I just do this the rest of the show?
Might as well. Yeah, just leave it. Milton with the 2-hour super chat. Hey, Jarrett, who wins your soft award?
Oh, there's no one that I don't think there's anyone that's really that soft this week. I guess by default for avoiding the media, I'll go Ryan Blaney.
Yeah,
it's like he was so chill about it. It's not really. It didn't seem that soft.
Yeah, he didn't say it like in a rude way. It's just like, stop trying to start controversy.
Yeah,
it's just so nice. Yeah, just stop, please. So in such a chill way. Irvin Alvarado with the $10 super chat. I know the Middle East as a potential NASCAR expansion is tricky for logistical and political reasons for certain countries. Honestly, I think Abu Dhabi's Yas Marina would be a starting point. I mean, like if they were to race anywhere, sure, but like even that track though, I mean, like I don't know, it just doesn't. I mean, even for F1 finales, it doesn't really put on the best product and stuff. But
Darian,
they're just having fun. Yeah, y'all are doing your own thing. I'm just
I had to get up to like mess with the controls, but now me and Jared we're having a rave over here.
It's a party inside my stream right now. Party inside my stream. Jimmy Lios with 2 super chats totaling to $25. First, the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. By the way, since NASCAR is off this weekend, there is still races on Saturday night. The ARCA race is racing at 8 p.m. Eastern time on FS1, and on Sunday there is an IndyCar race at 1 p.m. on USA Network and F1 at 2 p.m. on ABC. Isn't
IndyCar Road America?
I believe so. So yeah, got some more races. So there you go. And then the second super chat says, did you know that Greg Biffle is coming back to NASCAR next year in the Xfinity Series? Yep. Potentially for the Portland race. I don't know about full time, but Portland race for sure. Then another super chat by 8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon, $10 this time. Thank you so much. I'm curious if anyone ever tracked points for just one given track type, i.e. road course, short track, mile and a half. Be interested to know the best driver for each type of track during a given season. Would make for a cool doc vid in fantasy. So yeah, I mean,
Athlon used to do that.
Yeah. No, I know what he means, but But yeah, that'd be interesting for sure. Yeah. Then Will England, been a channel member for a month. Thank you so much. It's time for local news except on the West Coast. Yes, that old saying. That old saying. See, it'd be funny. I used to live in Vegas and watch that stuff and just be like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
But
what'd
now
you
it's
get?
like, yeah. We would get like for Fox broadcast, you would get like, I don't know, animation domination reruns or like some of these infomercials and stuff that play during the new afternoon-ish times or whatever. So yeah, we got some
So what about the
stuff.
NBC side? Like you like Law and Order
The
or
same,
something?
yeah, the same stuff like Law and Order reruns or like this like infomercial stuff that
Law and
shows up
Order.
at like two or
Law and
2
Order,
or
where
3.
we'll do the exact same plot on a show literally for 25 straight years.
Used to hear the do do
Dun, 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 dun.
dun, dun.
You know, that's
the
actually
old music.
trademarked. You can't use that in videos on YouTube.
Oh, well, that's good to know now. That's good to know. So I know copyright me. And then Ross Chastain with the $5 super chat. Jarrett, have you saved 50% on car insurance? That's a good question. Because he had the Gecko earlier.
Well, I mean,
so it's asking about.
I mean, I do have Geico as mine, but
There you go.
little dude is see. Thing is, we have multiple lizards in this house, but I only can bring one on because the gecko likes me. So I can hold her. You saw it. She's like chilling here.
Yeah.
When I bring the bearded dragon out, he shits on me. He's an asshole.
Oh man, he's like, oh, you're on your stream. Oh, I'm about to ruin it.
No, dude. Like the other day, well, not the other day. It's been a while because I've learned my lesson. I don't like getting crapped on when I don't have to be. I like take him out of his cage. I'm like, hey, buddy, how's it going? You want to see what the outside looks like? All over Dookie, all over my arm.
Oh my gosh,
Gross. It's like a bird too. It's gross.
And then Napa Racing Fan, 927 with the $2 super chat. He says, what all can Fox do to improve future broadcasts? That's a good question.
I think the broadcast needs focus.
Yeah. And just a little less gimmicky and stuff, a little less cartoons and just more serious broadcasts. See, I got the disco lights going on too. I'm doing it manually though. Alex
Nice.
Luft with the $5 super chat. Logano is kind of like a corgi, stubborn but friendly. Yeah, you have a cute doggy. It's such a cute dog. Such a cute dog.
Logano the corgi. Someone photoshopped Joey Logano's face on a corgi body.
Yeah, Alex Love, do it. Photoshop his face on the dog body. There you go. And then we have Sebastian with the $5 super chat. Question for the three of you. Do you guys think it takes more skill and talent to win on a road course as opposed to winning on an oval?
Different skill and talent.
Yeah, it's just it's just so different, I mean,
I do think the driver
a lot of skills though. So
I do think the driver can make a slightly greater difference on a road course. But that again, I don't think it's equal skill. At least from the team perspective, it still takes a whole team to be on their game.
Yeah. And then Dom, the race fan with the $5 super chat. Which race will y'all be watching this weekend? IndyCar or F1? I'm watching everything. Well, not just everything, but I do have my my NASCAR Thunder 2003 send through. So
I'll
probably be more focused on that.
Are you working this Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday? Well, no. But are you? You got anything going on Saturday?
Well, no. I'm gonna come over and watch you read the books, right?
Yeah, I got the romance novel stream Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll do it, but it's just gonna pop up on people's timelines like an hour before.
All right, cool.
Lord help me.
Yeah, I'll be over for that. Yeah. No, I wasn't gonna be working that day. Trust me. I might have called off honestly just for that day. And then now here we go. We're almost done, I promise. Need for Speed 5353. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Where's your party lights, Darian? I have them now. I'm doing it manually, but now my thumb's starting to hurt. So let me finish these up so I can stop. And 8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon with the $2 super chat. Let's see. Andy Lally raced the new Morgan Shepherd. Yes, he did. Andy Lally did race. Yeah, he did
15.
race. Yep. And fans like us who've been watching for a while, we remember him. He almost won Rookie of the Year, but then ran out of funding. God, Rookie of the Year battles used to be so dead during.
Remember when Kevin Conway won in the boner car?
Yeah, and led a total of one lap under caution.
Wasn't it a caution at Indianapolis?
Yep.
God. The hallowed grounds of Indianapolis for one lap were led by the Extends
Kevin Conway. Yep, the Extends car for sure. Ross Chastain with the $5 super chat. NASCAR on NBC. Yes, sir. Time to break out the old Nick Offerman vid from 2015 and get canceled. Oh,
and it
gosh.
rhymes with NASCAR.
But yes, Roush Chastain.
That was a
thank you so
pretty
much.
good Nick Offerman voice, actually. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And the final chat of the evening, or no, excuse me, the second to final one now. Irvin Alvarado, thank you so much for being a channel member for 2 months. The best club, The Wash. Yes, the best club, The Wash. Then last super chat of the evening. I don't know. Yeah, Irvin, if you could just let me know in the chat. Don't send another super chat. Just let me know the reference if you're still in here in the chat. And the final super chat of the evening from Nick with the $5 super chat. Trying to pass Newman is like trying to pass a kidney stone. Yes, the good old saying. I've heard that for years, man. Yes, we've heard that one for years. But yeah, I agree. And now I can finally stop the disco lights for now. Gosh, it was starting to hurt. Okay, then
SpongeBob, The Wash.
And then it's got you. Oh, damn, sorry, I didn't get that reference. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, there we go.
I thought is the Salty Spittoon count as a club? It's more a bar, I guess.
And the final super chat from It's Nothing with the $2 super chat just says one more. Okay, now we're done. But yeah,
thanks. It's Nothing.
But yeah, thank you. But that'll do it for this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Tune in next week. We will be over on Dannybtalks channel to go over nothing. We'll have a little bit to go over. Yes, it is the off week, but we will be getting ready for the Nashville weekend, which, by the way, I believe all 4 of us will be there, correct?
Yeah.
In Nashville.
Danny's missing the party right now.
Yeah, he's missing it right now. But we'll be there for the weekend festivities. We'll be there covering the entire weekend. Should be a blast.
Maybe we hang out at Dave and Buster's one of those nights.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's and just party.
I'm down to go Saturday.
Well, I know. We got a couple.
Let's just give everyone our address while we're at it. Here's where you can find us.
Whoa. We're good. We're good. But yeah, so Dannybtalks next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You can watch the next NASCAR Weekly Podcast. But gentlemen, I think that'll about do it, right? We're good.
I think so. Let's see. Yep, and double yep.
Yep, we're good.
I'm good.
So, all right. So another podcast in the books. Everybody, enjoy your off weekend. The rest of your off week. Don't forget to tune in to this Sunday at noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be doing the NASCAR Thunder 2003 sim through. As far as parity, I think it's definitely going to top the NASCAR Thunder 2004 sim through. And that's saying a lot, but I've been doing my tests and man, I had a blast just with the test alone. So I'm pretty sure you guys will too. But anyways, that'll do it for this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.
Later.
Goodbye.
Have some fun tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the Copy. Right foot down. We had to go blast. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. It's your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Doing great. Ridiculous.